Say hi to the bad guy on a Monday night. It's your man, Kevin Barnes, the mayor of Chocolate City. The world-class smartass is in the building for another edition of Outlaw Radio, live from the basement. Monday. We always talk about dreary Mondays. Happy Monday, goddammit. I'm not alone. Welcome to, like I said, another edition, and I got my co-host as usual, Mr. Kamar Carter. What's going on with you, my brother?
Peace. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. But how are y'all doing out there? And welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk, raising vibrations and elevating thought. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the coach, teacher, hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. Y'all, hotel wellness coach, Mr. Kamar Carter. Peace to the family. I'm also the one who brings you Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements and Vitality. You better come on in. You can find it on Facebook under Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements, or you can go to my health page, Healthy Self, Heal Thyself. You can ask somebody about Vitality or Nature's Natural Herbs and Supplements, and they gonna point you in my direction. Or you go to my page, Kamar Carter, inbox me. I'll tell you how to get your shit. Or you can call me, 414-949-2122. Let's put a package together for you, family.
Absolutely, man. Welcome to the show. Share the show. That's all we ask is to share the show. And occasionally I might say, hit that Cash App running across the bottom of the screen. But shout out to you. 414, stand up, man. You know what I'm saying? Give it up for yourself. They say you deserve a break today, and they was telling the goddamn truth. A lot to talk about. We're on Mondays. We're on Tuesdays with the Big Black Sports Show. I'm sorry, Monday with Outlaw Radio. Tuesday with the Big Black Sports Show. Shout out to ENC Jordan. Facebook was messing with us last week, but it was a great show. You got to check it out. It's all about sports from a black perspective. We'll be on tomorrow. It's on fire with sports up here, so we'll be on tomorrow with that. And Wednesday, we come back with another Outlaw Radio banger, man. So welcome to the show. I don't ask that you watch every one. Just watch two of them, right? Pick one out, and normally it'll lead you to the other shows, man. So support. All we got is us. Other than that, man, you know, like I say, man, shout out to, I know we had violence over the weekend. We always do, right? We know we always have violence over the weekend. So normally what we'll do is start the show out by, just, prayers and condolences or what have you. Those who may not be with us or shout out to somebody who's going through something. Rel, what's going on with you, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing this evening?
Man, tight like that booty. Tight like that booty. So no, shout out to you, man. If you lost someone, shout out to you if you going through something. Shout out to you if you dealing with something, you stressed out about something, you worried about something. I'm trying to tell you it's gonna be all right. Keep your head up, man. Keep your fist in the air. You know what they say. Only way you get out of when you find yourself in the hole, the only way you can get out of it is to stop digging. But we always want to big up the common man, the average brother out here in this world trying to make it and make sense of it, man. That's what we do this for. Do it for a cause and not an applause. Deion James said he in the house. What's happening with you, my brother? Strong support of Deion. I got to get you to show, man. Deion got to be first on the list because he's been supporting us hard body karate. Peace Outlaws, Jesse Parrish for Denver Mayor. Jay and Kruma, what's cracking with you, my brother? Oh my goodness. Chantel Gwynn, hello, Outlaw Radio. Ewok the Great. He said great. Ewok is another hoodie recipient. I gotta get love out to y'all for supporting the show, man. I appreciate it. Man, how y'all doing, man? Kamar, how was your weekend, man? How was your weekend?
Yeah, my weekend was good, man. I can't never complain. If I did, don't nobody want to hear that shit. So eloquent, but it was good though. It was smooth. I was down at Outpost Saturday. I was at Outpost. I always have a good time. I was down there on East Capitol this time, so I was down there in the hood with us. You know what I mean? And it's always great when I get to talk to us.
That's what's up, man. Nice. Unseasonably warm weather, right? The fall is supposed to be pretty slick for us here in the next few weeks. Rel, how was your weekend, brother?
It was cool, man. Tried to be productive. Was upstairs painting my upper unit so I could get these floors put down, man. Okay. So I was up there and had the lady up there and the kids had had them painting the border, so I ain't had to bend down too much and shit. And we was making it do what it do.
Yeah.
So you was working hard and hardly working at the same time, right?
Yeah, man, it
Right,
was hard as ever, man.
right.
Shit.
Hustle sweat up in that motherfucker.
It
Hey, it's
was
hard
too.
being a supervisor, ain't it real?
Yeah, it is, man. You gotta
It's
stop
hard
what you
work
doing.
supervising.
You gotta
It's,
stop what you doing to make sure they doing the shit right.
yeah, especially when you
Yeah,
got illegal child labor, right? Like
shit, they want to eat.
ain't gonna be
They
no union up in this motherfucker, right?
right. They
Oh my
quick to
goodness.
ask for toys. You know, they
Yes.
pitching in.
Man, shout out to Nalia Armani. Shout out, my sister. How you doing? Oh, Alicia Mullen. She said weekend off the chain. Yes, it was. Great weekend, man. These weekends, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old. I enjoy Saturday and Sunday so much now. I'd be like, this
Man.
is the shit. Like, maybe that's what retirement gonna be like, right? It's just knowing, getting up, saying, I ain't got to do shit today. You know, I mean, you might have something to do, but it's just like I ain't got to work or nothing like that. So I ain't got to punch that
Hey
that
man, you know what I'm going to tell y'all about? I done forgot, man. Like we done went through 2 shows already, and I done forgot both times, man. I want to talk to y'all, man. I was in this. I was with the event. Remember, I told you I was doing some events for the Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the last one I did, they had merged with the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and did an event together, right? So I'm there and I'm sitting there, and they've been doing this, right? I noticed they start talking about, because they was actually speaking this time, and they was talking about a pitch contest, and I'm sitting there in my station, but I'm listening. And they was talking about, about black businesses able to make pitches and, you know what I mean, and receive money if you win the pitch contest. So they had some pieces of paper up there to tell you how to give a pitch. So I went up there and put my name on the paper, right? And I get one of the papers, I go back down to my booth and I study the thing on how to give a pitch. I studied. I already knew it was you can only give a minute. I was gonna fuck that up. I can't just speak in a little short time, right? But anyway, it worked out to my advantage, because when I started talking, they liked what I was talking about. I went over my minute. They told me to keep going because they wanted to hear it. But anyway, I made it to the last round for the pitch contest, right? There's 6 different black businesses in it. Okay. The first place prize is $10,000. The second place prize is $7,000. The third place prize is $3,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wanted to mention that on the show, man. You know what I mean? Because somebody had asked me what was going on with the Black Chamber of Commerce. And that was something that I found out, you know what I mean, after that event. And I wanted to bring that up. And next time they do one, I'm going to also be able to talk about it to where I can let y'all know what's going on.
Okay,
that's what's up, dope, man. Nalia Armani said, I love this. Thank you. Welcome to the show, my sister. Oh, and let me hit y'all with the phone numbers, 262-202-5131, 262-202-5131 if you want to hit us on the chat. The chat room, on the other hand, the virtual piece of it is working very well. I can see y'all. I appreciate the love. Sharon Evans, what's going on, Outlaws? How you doing, my sister? Welcome aboard. Man, I appreciate the love and support, man. I got some people who rock with us. Share the show, share it in groups, share it everywhere you possibly can. That's all we ask. And like I said, if you so happen to want to hit the hit the Cash App, please do so. It's running across the bottom of the screen.
Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App.
Hey, no pressure, right? No pressure.
Hit the Cash App.
He said, no, thank you, King. Oh, appreciate it. Listen. Lot going on, man. This is an ongoing discussion. I think I would be remiss if I didn't start off with something Kanye related, right? There is other things going on, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's something you have to touch on because it's going down on many different levels, especially for us as foundational Black Americans, because we are seeing on one hand what happens when you choose to call out the system and call out the the provocateurs, if you will, the perpetrators. And I want to say this: no matter what's said about Kanye West on our show on Outlaw Radio, just know we are on code. This is an on code show. So as a Black man, we have his back. You have to know that we got his back. But as a Black man, we also call him on his bullshit. So I just want people to know that. So, it's like people want to be on one side or the other. I'm on code with my brothers and sisters. So what I do is I can criticize my brother and sister in the house. We go outside, you fuck with them. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. I hope I made that clear. I don't know. Is that some sort of new disclaimer we can throw out there now? I don't know. So Kanye, more people leaving. It's spilling over. I told y'all, pressure. I'm gonna put pressure on you, kick you out the bank, kick you off social media, take your endorsements. Now the kids who go to your school, we fucking with them, right? Y'all can't play in a basketball tournament. Really? Powers that be, aka Jewish people, because that's who's turning off the light on
Hey,
it.
I heard Jalen Brown. I heard Jalen Brown was helping him out with the Donda Academy.
He's trying to help the kids. He's trying to
Yeah.
help the kids. He's trying to help the kids. Which is a good thing because somebody got to step in for him, man. It's utterly ridiculous, man.
What's the academy for? Like, is it a school, just a regular school?
Yeah, it's like a charter school he had that he was running.
That's something else dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why we need to get behind his brother? Like,
his mother was a college professor.
School and say what now?
His mother was a college professor. That dude's educated, right? You know,
he doing a lot of shit, man, that needs to be done.
Yes.
Calling people out. He's starting a school. I mean, you know what I mean? He was fighting for prison reform. You know what I mean? He doing shit that more of us need to be doing. He say a lot of bullshit, but he do a lot of dope shit.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. It's such a dichotomy, as they say. Deion James said, so who killed Malcolm X? Oh, we're going to talk about that, Deion. We're going to talk about that. That's why I said I didn't want to put too much on Kanye. We got to touch on it, but thank you. Yes. Oh, we're absolutely going to discuss that, especially in light of what's happening. In the latest developments, we're definitely going to talk about who killed Malcolm. Tall Tim Pops, he said, greetings from the concrete. What's happening, my brother? Share the show. 262-202-5131. Outlaw Radio is in the building, man. Yes, I just, my thing with this is the more they do to him, the more validity they give him.
Right.
The more deals that they take. Right, because it's what's they say? Hit dog holler, right? So if he called out Jewish businessmen and Jewish people and it didn't apply, they'd be like, doesn't have anything to do with me. That's my best Jewish dude impression, right? Type shit. Town, don't let me down. But yeah, so I'm saying if it didn't apply to him, my dad used to say if the shoe fit, buy a matching purse, right? Like, so you're not this man shutting him down unless what he said has validity and it contains some information that you don't want people to know. I put a very interesting diagram in the People's News Network. By the way, if you're not with the People's News Network, join my group. I'm telling you, it's the black kind of, it's what BET used to be, right? Our news, our shows, our platforms, just no cooning, man. No fight videos. Every now and then something funny, but variety is the spice of life. But no, it broke down how many of these media corporations and conglomerates are actually owned by Jewish people.
Yeah, most of them.
No stone was left unturned, right? Including BET. We already know that. Viacom, we already know. We already know.
Right.
So part of this is it gets to the point where you say, well, Russell Simmons and Puffy and all these artists, Dr. Dre, and all of them who have tremendous amounts of money. I'm talking culturally, tremendous amounts of money and influence and relationships. A long time ago, Dame Dash, when he was hitting Jay-Z, why haven't they gotten together and said, this is the black record company that's done by us, owned by us, run by us, black executives? What they do is they always got to bring a Jewish benefactor in. So a lot of them had to back up off Kanye and say, oh, shit, wait a minute, goddammit. You defended Mr. Rothstein. You offended Mr. Rothstein, right? Like, so it's crazy. All of this stuff, we knew it anyways, but it's giving it more exposure. And none of them, I'm waiting on the one who's brave enough to stand up and say, he's right, y'all. Besides Russell Simmons in Bali on the run for some goddamn rape charges. We sold off BET. We sold off Def Jam. Soul Train is sold off. Ebony Magazine. which was a staple. The Johnson Publishing Company is no more. Finito. Ebony's been sold twice. You see this recurring theme of our culture owned by someone else is the common denominator here. That's what this is bringing light to, for me at least, as an individual.
You're right.
Y'all let me
You're
know
right.
how y'all feel.
You're right, Kevin. Well, I also I feel like to add on it, you know what I mean? I think this is what we need too. Again, this is what we need. We need to see this shit so we can start thinking about what can we do now. You know what I mean? What can we do to get past that obstacle? You know what I mean? How can we figure out how to live without needing them people? You know what I'm saying? How can we figure out how to get this network and do what we want to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what's needed right now.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. Out of this kookiness, that's what I'm saying. You can learn anything. You can learn something from anybody. And say even a broken clock is wrong twice a day. That's why my criticism of the Looney Tune that Kanye can be has kind of subsided a little bit. And I'm not putting that dumb shit he said to the side. I'm just saying that when it's time, when it's big picture, when it's something more important than that, I can put bullshit to the side and get ready to get down. That's why I always say whenever I'd be with my homies when we was growing up and we somewhere, and I don't know if you grew up in Milwaukee when I did, but it could go down. You be somewhere, we get to throwing them. It could anywhere. You walk out the corner store, you in a fight. And on the way home, it's man, what was that about? Not before the fight, after the fight. Like, dude, what was that about? And sometimes, like I say, it'd be some bullshit. You'd be like, dude, you had me out here fighting this shit over that. But it's the homeboys. Y'all was
what else I think we can learn from this?
What's that?
About how quick we are to be ready to cancel each other out.
Right.
You know what I mean? We need to learn from that, man. Like that shit ain't really cool. Like, Kev, what if you got an idea that's really dope? You know what I'm saying? And then you mention it, and every motherfucker just starts shitting on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't do that, man. You know what I mean? We got to start at least. We got to at least start hearing each other out before we cancel a motherfucker, man.
Shout out to Jason Vidilli.
Fuck him. I never fuck with him in my life. Fuck him.
Got retired. And we so extreme, and I'm gonna get into that. She says, yes, say that. Shout out to Jason Vidilli, my cousin. What's up, man? He said, real spit, big cuz. Sharon Evans said Chuck D sold out too because Professor Griff said the same thing about them people owning and controlling the industry. Absolutely, Chuck had to bow down. Absolutely, Chuck had. If Chuck wanted to keep touring, Leor Cohen. We talking about, what Leor Cohen is? What is he? Well, I believe he's a what? I don't want to call him Semitic because I'm in the know of what the true definition of Semitic is, and it's not those people. I hate to break it to y'all, white America. It's not them, right? You gave them this. You gave them this status in this country.
They about to send the Zohan after you, G.
Well, hey.
Whenever you come with them facts, like, how can historical facts be hate speech? I'm still trying to figure that shit out. But man, you come with them historical facts.
Hey, dog was on Drink Champs. He said, dog was on Drink Champs. Like, how can I be anti-Semitic? Nigga, I'm Semitic.
Right. I'm black. Right. What are you talking about? Who's not a Jew? Who's not a Jew? Right. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at them saying you people, because I'm the Jew. Listen, you gotta do your knowledge, man. You gotta do the knowledge. This is not as thinly veiled as it first appeared to be. And I'm speaking on what he was talking about with this control that they have had, this chokehold that they have had over this for so long.
That's
and it's
why they
time,
go so hard.
And I want to say this too. I'm gonna say this. You know, and jump out of it. I go back across the room and run all the way through and bust up out the motherfucker. Don't even let the window up. I want to say, motherfuck every black celebrity. Motherfuck every powerful black mogul. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that, because all you motherfuckers is cowards. Not one of you have stood up and told the truth. And even you coon trained banjo buck dancing HBCUs in this age. Who is that? Morehouse, who just canceled the basketball tournament for the kids over this shit. We talking about historically black my ass, historically in the sense that you are still a slave. Fucking Morehouse. Y'all make me sick with this step and fetch it ass shit. Y'all so scary. You so scary. Not one of them has. They all. I'm condemning him for saying anti-Semitic. See, there it go again. You spreading lies. Say, you know how we know when you lying? Because you talking. That's how we know. You lying. So Puffy and all you fake ass motherfuckers. We see now who the real house niggas was or have been. We see who the real trustees are. Gunline boss. We see who you is. You niggas ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Hey,
And if it's a
you
sense
know
where
what?
he has mental health issues, where's the love to come and say, no, we're gonna protect this brother because he's saying something important, but he seemed like he needs some issues. Why you can't say that? Scary ass niggas.
I think right now at this point, what you know how like a lot of them motherfuckers can still be touched. Their careers still can be fucked up, right? But I think like in the next months or so or whatever, you know what I mean? I feel like we may see more people fucking with Kanye a little more. You know what I mean? Cause see now, okay, like I can't lead this fight, right? If I ain't on the level to where I ain't worried if y'all cancel me.
Yeah.
I can't lead the fight because they'll tear me down and fuck up everything I'm trying to build, right?
Right.
But then if you got a motherfucker like Kanye, right? Well, now it's a little easier. Okay, now I could go fuck with him. Or like, let's say the politicians, right? Politicians that we need on our team. They can fuck with him a little, you know what I mean? And maybe get funded in a way where they won't have to take so many of them fucked up checks and have to turn their back on the community. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot that could open up from this. I hope it do. I'm not saying it's done, but I'm just saying it's a lot of possibilities that could open up from just him doing this. You know what I mean? Because it's making us think outside the box more so.
There's a such thing called solidarity. Let me tell you something. You do this to a Hmong person. You know who's gonna stick with him? The Hmong community.
Damn
do
right.
it to him. Have it happen to a Mexican man. What's gonna happen? Guess who's gonna be down with him? The essays, Holmes, mi barrio. Do it to a damn Jew. They're gonna circle the wagons. Everybody do this shit except us. We the only motherfuckers who go to running in different directions, like roaches with the lights on. Oh shit, they can see us. It makes more sense for you now to say. Now I don't know where Kanye's head is business wise because I'm not in the know of this. But if he's willing to say, man, let's take a couple million and create a network so we can move we don't have to pay them. Cut the middleman the fuck out. And you say it could hurt my career. Well, goddamn it, how many billions do you need? What you need? Another Bentley, Puffy? You ain't got enough houses in the Hampton? Fat cat, pretty motherfucker.
Hey, and you know hey, look, and Puffy's another motherfucker that's got that residual income that he ain't never got to worry about shit. You know what I mean? He's another motherfucker that's like that, and he should be speaking up, like standing right next to Kanye.
They all are. They fucking cowards, Kamar. Yeah. Let me read this because my sister's trying to tell us something. I'm gonna get back to that.
Puffy gay anyway.
Oh shit! Allegedly. Hey, look, I said fuck him already. You gonna get us all the way shut down. Now you doing the homophobic shit, and we doing anti-Semitic. We will never be heard from again. Chantel Glenn said, "Thank God for the day of rest, the last blood drive for the year, November 5th at the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, hosted by Versity Blood Center. I hope I'm saying that right. For this year, hopefully we'll have more people coming out to support our community. We're still looking for donors to help save lives in our community. We need more people willing to give the gift of life. We need to promote miracles, not all this murder. We are losing newborns to 25 at a horrific rate. We have to turn it. Can't see the rest. Yes, shout out to Chantel Gwen because we were supporting her on getting the donors for the aplastic anemia and other donors and whatnot. So shout out to Chantel Gwen. Nali Armani said facts. Sharon Evers said word. Let me tell you, man, I wouldn't give Puffy a penny ever again. They're not saying nothing because they backed yeah, right. Well, we know that. And that's what I'm saying about Charlemagne. Sharon Evans said it was nice knowing y'all. Man, look, hey. Listen, I'm giving it to the brothers more. You notice I ain't even said fuck the Jews. I didn't say that. I said fuck the black cowards that won't stand with Kanye against them. And you people, this is how twisted they got our minds in this country. He didn't say anything malicious. All he did was tell the truth. Now, what we do is when we hear that and they say, well, you criticizing them, you must hate them, right? Which is such a misnomer. You criticize your kids when they do something, right? Don't you still love them? You criticize your woman or your man, you still love them. When they on something, you call them out. It doesn't mean I hate you. I'm not anti-kid because I tell my kids, sit your ass down and be quiet. Oh, you anti-kid. I'm anti-kid, but it's a play on
Cancel him.
words that they use to fuck with us. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just said cancel him. You anti-kid.
Right, just right. Cancel him and shit. Cancel him, motherfucker. He don't even like his own kids, right? Mandela Barnes smokes hashish. Right. We don't know. I'm just saying. I'm so disappointed in a lot. That's why I said that about the HBCUs. If you really want to know where the HBCUs came from, go and look. There's white benefactors, white philanthropists who set these schools up. Some rich white woman whose husband owned probably 300 niggas said, oh, poor niggers, we should build them their own college. They can stay the fuck out of ours. And that's your HBCU. Now, listen, I tell people this all the time. If you all care, you can't be going in. No, anybody can get it. It's everybody killer on Outlaw Radio. You know where the Tuskegee experiments happened at? Tuskegee University. Right. That is, I believe, an HBCU, correct? Right. So it just, and there's many other underground. I talk all the time about the tangible movement to prevent black intellectuals from ever aligning themselves with Marcus Garvey. And there were a lot of Mac Negroes then who were gatekeepers who were complicit, right? Well, we got the NAACP over here. You rather have that than the UNIAA, because one is Negro Improvement and one is National Association for Colored People or some shit like that. One seems more specific than the other, doesn't it? One is more intentional, one is more purposeful. But because of who was organizing it, and they couldn't get their nose in the inner circle, they used people who look like us to infiltrate, as they call it. So many of these Negroes is already behind the scenes underlying agents. I hate to use that word, and I never thought I'd use it because I don't like that shit. When he an agent, but some motherfuckers is agents. Some of them is because they on the payroll. You better believe these dudes, and I'm seeing them for what they are. So now when I see a Puffy, listen to me. Biggie Smalls, who's one of the greatest rappers ever, right? What was Biggie rapping about? Selling dope, killing motherfuckers, having sex with many women as he can, beating women. Biggie got a lyric about his boy. Don't you know my guy kidnap kids, fuck them in their ass, throw them over the bridge. Puffy ain't got a goddamn problem with none of this shit. He ain't got no problem with none of the destructive messages, the misogynist stuff towards black women. I'm not complaining about it. I'm not the Reverend Calvin Butts because I was down for the music with it. Like, yeah, oh, that's the shit. But Puffy wasn't mad about that. He ain't canceling none of that. But Kanye said something about Jews, and now he got an issue. Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Clubs plays more destructive music. All you hear on that show, I don't care what they talking about. People do their interviews. It's so green, so great. So they'll have Minister Farrakhan on there. As soon as his time is up, they go back to playing. Yeah, fuck him, shoot the nigga, fuck him, right? Like, and that's cool. But when Kanye says something about Jews, he's anti-Semitic. Who taught you that word, nigga? Who taught you that word? Your Semitic master taught you that word? Come on, man. Stop playing with it, man. Look, either shit or get off the pot, right? They say pay me or pay me no attention. If we're going to continue to move in this country as a people and we're going to keep wearing blinders, not being willing to say the most obvious shit in the world, which is, hey, wait a minute. Why don't we profit more than anybody off of our culture? Ain't that kind of strange? It's our culture. It's our music. It's our art. It's whatever. We make the least amount of money off the shit. Think about that. Let that slosh around in your mouth for a minute. Like some what the mouthwash, right? That makes no sense. So if we say, hold on, wait a minute, wait, oh shit. We got to do something here. Oh, no, you don't, Mr. Jackson. You're anti-Semitic. And turn your own goddamn people against you. Coward ass niggas. Don't make near another song talking about no bricks you flip, none of that shit. We don't believe none of that shit. You wouldn't even stand up to an old geriatric group of motherfucking Jewish businessmen. And ain't nobody asking you to step and say, y'all kiss my ass. Wu-Tang. Remember Dave Chappelle did when Keep It Real go too far? All we saying is stand up and say, listen, what the brother's saying is true in terms of y'all dominance. I don't agree with everything he says, just like I don't agree with everything you say, or you say, or you say. You have that right. I thought this was America. America, KKK, right? Come on, man. Talk to me, y'all. Talk to me. I'm on fire tonight. I'm upset. Right? I get in my feelings about my people, man. I hate bullshit, man. I hate bullshit. Get us up, man. 262-202-5131 Outlaw Radio. Let me check my chat room. I see y'all in the chat room. We got a bunch of shy people that like to type, but they don't like to talk. Chantel Gwen said, y'all are some of the biggest positive groups in the 414. That's why it doesn't really bother me if somebody says, well, you're being anti-Semitic, Kevin, and you're being hateful. How? When all I talk about is things that can benefit my people. What's negative about that? What's anti-Semitic about me saying we need to take control over our culture? Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I was agreeing with you. I was saying that. They don't want you to speak on that. They don't want you to preach that.
Well, yeah. Well, so okay, because they love themselves, they must hate you. What a dumbass perspective, man. Don't pay the five.
I think that might be part of that guilty conscience. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, okay, if I've been shitting on you, as long as you can remember, as long as your people can remember all that shit, if I've been shitting on you all that long, now I'm gonna feel kind of guilty. If you talking about how you love yourself all the time so much, and I've been hating on you all this goddamn time, and you love your, I'm starting to feel like you looking at this side of the couch kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of a guilty conscience, I think one will have.
Nowadays, today in 2022, it's that color purple shit. As long as she was allowing Mister to do what he did, because she hated herself.
Right.
So when you said you're black, you're ugly, you're the sugar pretty, she can sing, what you gonna do? She was like, fuck you, and picked up the knife. I cut your shit off. She was free from then on. But she started caring about herself. So it's just like what you just said. If I'm steadily shitting on these people and keeping them down, and I keep hearing them say, fuck that, we don't care. We gonna get through this shit. We love ourselves. We ain't finna be taking it. I guess I can see why it would make them nervous. Like, goddamn, what we gonna do if all these motherfuckers wake up? What would America do if Black America woke the fuck up? And I'm talking about got right.
It's gonna turn
prison population went down, graduation rate went up.
That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna turn into Black America. It ain't gonna be America. It ain't gonna be the United States of America no more. It's just gonna be Black America. And yeah, now we can call ourselves Black.
I'm calling myself Black anyways.
We fucked that system up. You know what I'm saying? It can be our shit. It's supposed to be our shit. It's been our shit. We ain't got to fight for it. We just got to live like we supposed to live.
Right. The idea of us being one tribe has been taken, and we need to take that back. I think we were many different tribes, and I think that's why it worked. And we respected each other as being different tribes. I don't want to be the same tribe as everybody else, because sometimes I might want to make up my own tribe, right? I don't want to be part of the Motisa tribe. Motisa? I don't want to be part of that tribe. Ernest said, you got my white guy Kevin scared to call. Don't be scared. Scared money don't win. Keep telling the truth. If you don't know where it came from, you don't know where to go. Shout out to
is Kevin Jewish?
I no, remember he
No,
was
he
Irish.
was Irish. His
Oh,
Right.
Irish.
Irish.
That's what it was.
He was
I was
Irish, but I
gonna
knew
say.
more about Ireland than him and shit. I said, "Where are you from in Ireland?" He said, "The North Side and shit." You got talking about,
Right
you got
near
talking
the
about Cleveland
beach.
and shit. No, no, I'm just saying, just get the first step in deprogramming yourself from the bullshit that they put in our heads is deflating your own value. I keep saying, we keep saying, Outlaw Radio keeps saying, we give away more power than they take from us.
Yep.
I think of all the times I've been screwed over. Ain't nobody never strong arm me. Ain't nobody grab me, give me your shit. And I said, oh shit, here, man, here. It could happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I'm saying it has never happened. But I have ever been fucked over before? Absolutely. And almost every time I have, when I look back at that episode, I realize it was my fault. I gave up too much power, right? And so it's about, in America as a black person, and this whole thing with Kanye is another example of this. Before we even get in the fight, we throwing our hands. Oh shit, Kanye!
Yep.
Oh, don't do that. I
Don't
think he
say
should
that.
apologize. Apologize to who? He should apologize to us. He should say, "No, I apologize to black people for the fool I've been and some of the foolish shit I've said. And I truly realize who I am and what I am because I've had my nigga moment." That's what he should be saying. I don't know. Maybe he'll make it a song.
I seen a video the other day where he damn near said that, where he was saying how uh pretty much he apologized, understanding the perspective of people who've been hurt and how it could hurt them from some of the shit he said. But I mean,
I
he was
want him to
saying
say
that.
it specifically, though. Don't give me no blanket ass apology.
I
Everybody,
mean,
all the kids in Tibet. I
I
want you to
mean,
say Black America. I want you
I
to say, I'm
mean,
gonna say this to the niggas out there, right? I want you to say
okay.
that.
So you want him to apologize for what the red hat, the slavery was a choice, and the white lives matter shirt. Like, I mean, niggas so
I want
mad
him
at
to
him for
apologize
all kind of
for
shit. So like, what do you want to hear him address in
I
his
want to hear him
apology?
apologize for fouling Donald Trump's balls in public and demeaning himself. If you believe in his politics is one thing, but to be basically wanting to sit on his lap and lick on his neck is a different thing. Because you don't
That's
see
him.
you don't see his other supporters doing that shit. You don't see the white men who pay for his campaign sitting around with hats on. You've greatest, you're the greatest. They put that check up and keep it moving. Okay. I want him to apologize for the slavery shit simply because why you didn't that's a conversation we should be having amongst us. Why the fuck would you go out in front of the people who we telling that they owe us reparations? Why would you be throwing that shit out there so they can say, well, basically you guys chose to be slaves. There's no need to give you reparations. If you want to have that conversation, let's have it in amongst us like we do on Outlaw Radio when we go back and forth about it. That's how it should be discussed. Not on CNN with I don't know none of the white boys on CNN. Who Graham Mertz? I'm making up a name.
Hey,
Who the fuck's on
maybe that's,
CNN?
I don't know, but maybe that's him getting white votes already.
Right.
Like getting them to open their eye to him so he could get a vote from him or something. I mean, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, I like to focus
2024.
I like to focus on what a motherfucker do. You know what I mean? Versus the shit he say, like this serious shit. Okay, I could get with that. I'm focusing on that shit. You know what I mean? Because he's
Right.
100% right with that shit. You know what I mean? I ain't even gonna give that shit no energy over there.
Right. Right. MC Tom said they can have Kanye. We don't want that motherfucker. Listen,
I do.
the reason I'm gonna say the reason I disagree with that because I got plenty homeboys, plenty cousins, plenty associates who ain't shit. As a matter of fact, some of them is straight up criminals. They don't even deny the shit. They'll tell you, man, please, motherfucker, I'm out here doing what I got to do.
Shit.
And I don't throw them away. Shit. Right. I don't say no. I don't want that motherfucker. Most of the people who I know who are wounded and traumatized in some sort of way where they got some kind of tick. I don't care who you are as a black person. You got something about yourself where it's something you picked up from growing up in this goddamn community we grew up in. Motherfucker lock the door, got to get up out the bed. I can't go to sleep unless I go double check the front door because you grew up saying make sure that goddamn door locked. Right. Any car alarm, you in the window. Shit, that might be my shit they fucking with out there. Let me even if you got a driveway, it's certain ticks that we have. We just talked about. I go in a restaurant, I don't sit with my back to the door. I don't sit nowhere I go. If I go in a place and it's one way in and one way out, I won't be there long. I'm trying to tell you. So
hey,
we all have something. Go ahead, bro.
I feel like if we gonna get off on something like okay, we talk about Kanye, so I'm gonna say Kanye. If we gonna take off on the shit that he say that we feel like is detrimental to the black community, man, we got to take off on everything that's detrimental. Like all these rappers, everything these rappers are saying out here, we got to take off on them too. Because they saying some shit consistently detrimental to the community. You know what I mean?
Right.
They telling our kids to take drugs, telling our kids to pop pills and shit. You know what I mean? Tell them to go pop the nigga down the street. You know what I mean? Fuck this girl and leave her. And you know what I mean? Come on, man. Like we
Right.
really got to get on people that's on the community. If you we can't just focus on the shit Kanye do. That's fucked up. Cause these motherfuckers out here fucking the community up and ain't doing shit else.
Well, I tell you what we can't do. We can't allow the narrative of it's cool to say fuck everybody except for two groups of people. Gay people and Jewish people. You can say fuck niggas, fuck Mexicans, fuck Chinese
Right.
people, fuck everybody. You say Jew, the lights go out. What the fuck just happened? That's what's not right. That indicates to me that this is a benevolent empire. And it shows its tentacles. It shows, motherfucker, I reach all the way down to the kids you helping. I can make your community hate you. Now, once again, if we were all airtight and said, and look, even if you don't approve when they ask you, Magic, what you think about it? I don't got to comment on that at this time. Easily done. You got to, well, I like to say I support all my Jewish friends and I don't want nobody to be offended. We always worried about offending somebody else. Don't nobody give a fuck about offending us.
Sure.
Nobody cares about how black people feel. They'll throw some shit on us in a minute. Here go the new law, nigga. Deal with it.
You
Yeah,
still
oh
better
shit, what we
hold
gonna
your tongue.
do?
And even when you're offended, you still better hold your tongue.
Right. Yeah, you don't like it, motherfucker, but you
Nigga.
gotta deal with it. Yeah, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that shit. It can't. Attacking this double standard is key to where we trying to go or where we should be trying to go. It ain't no limit on solidarity. Either you with me or you against me.
One or the other.
Right. So, and you have room to choose because if you say fundamentally, I disagree with you, Kev, so I'm not with you, then my expectation from you ain't shit. I say, it don't surprise me. That motherfucker been told me he wasn't rocking with me. I ain't even worried about him. I'm worried about the people who here. That's how we got to go. That people need to know that. So it ain't about being anti-Semitic. That's why any Jewish person that would come at me and say, yeah, how? You know what? As a matter of fact, I done had more fights with my own people in my own community than I've ever had with any Jewish people. I ain't never beat a Jewish person up that I knew about. Right? But you know how many black people in my own community I done went to blows with over some petty shit? So who do I really hate? who really hates who? I feel like we hate we. And don't nobody give a fuck about it. But if somebody say you're accused of being anti-Semitic, imagine the fact that most of the people who shut down deals wasn't even there when he said it. They seen a sound bite or they heard a clip or something. And you know who controls the machine, so who fucking manipulated the clip? Come on, man. Gotta be smart, man. You can't underestimate somebody who would enslave a people and degrade a people and murder people and split a people up and rob them of everything for 300 years. Now you gonna assume that they wouldn't do nothing evil? What the fuck are we talking about?
I've been preaching this on the show, man, since I've been on it. We have to be fearless as a people. As far as showing the right way, teaching the right things, we have to be fearless because the shit that we teaching and we trying to show each other, you know what I mean? Them people don't want us to know. They don't want us to know how to take care of themselves. They don't want us to know how to take care of ourselves.
Okay.
Talking about like what I do, you know what I mean? They don't like that shit. Because then it's gonna say they won't need the hospital so much. They won't need the doctor so much. You know what I mean? They don't want us to learn about our history so we can learn how to build on that shit. You know what I mean? They don't want us to learn nothing like that.
Right. Because push comes to shove when we really realize we don't need them. That's what they really don't want. God damn it, pretty soon these motherfuckers ain't gonna need us at all.
Or they're gonna realize we don't need them. They're gonna realize we don't need them.
If we show them.
Yeah, it's coming, man. It's coming.
I hope.
And that's why I say, like this type of shit, like we talking about Kanye, it's these conversations that's gonna do it for us because it's making us talk about it. It's making us think about it. It's making us think outside the box.
Right.
It's making us do it because the conversations won't let up.
MC
Right.
Town said they can have Kanye and Tiger and Herschel Walker. You know what? I ain't in the business of giving brothers away. It's not my birthright. Listen, it's you say it's a village. I'm gonna move to the other side of the village, away from them. But I'm not gonna kick them out the village. But those brothers don't want to be part of it. So it ain't about whether or not we want
And
them or
that's
not. They don't
cool.
want us.
That's cool. Hey, listen, I'm trying to help people health wise, right? If I meet somebody and they don't want to help somebody health wise, that's cool. They don't want to join this movement. It's the same
Right.
thing.
Absolutely. And I'm here to tell any white person, if you look at a black person who loves black people and you think he's racist, you a fucking idiot. And you are the problem. If you walk into a room full of black people who say we love us, we want the best for us, we want to win, and you say these motherfuckers racist, you the goddamn racist. And you
Yeah,
need
we
to
had
get
a
the fuck
place,
out.
us as black people right now today, we had a place where we have to show love to each other. We have to show that we love each other. I got to
Right.
tell people I love them. You know what I mean? So they can understand that it's okay to love. It's okay
Right.
to
Right.
get back to it, man. So that's what we doing. We talking about black love. We talking about black relationships, black families, even loving our brothers. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man.
Well, absolutely. And it was intentional. It has to be intentional. That's why I say intentional solidarity. So it's intentional. We're not hiding the fact that we are for us. What the fuck is
Right.
wrong with us being for us? Why
It's
is
a
that a
threat
stigma?
to because if we ever are for us enough to where we could actually come together, it's a threat for any power that be. Us loving us will cause us to get on code, like you said. It will cause us to help ourselves and repair ourselves. And then ultimately, once that's done, the next step is coming back to get what's rightfully ours. And that's the step they trying to keep us from.
And
Like like
That's
I,
that's
what
that's the
it is.
problem with
like
us.
like I like I said before, just us discussing historical facts is a threat to their structure because it outs the lie. I mean,
Mm.
like I told y'all before, Egypt never had a slave economy. There was never any Jewish person a slave in Egypt, so that kills the whole Exodus, which
Nope.
is the foundation of their whole movement is being selected and chosen.
Hey, tell me if I'm wrong, right? Tell
What's
me if I'm
happening,
wrong.
fam? Yeah,
Real. I'm
I want
yeah,
asking
him to
you.
yeah.
finish that too, because I like where that was going. Go ahead, Kamar.
We was talking about Egypt never being a part of the slave economy, right? Like
Okay,
in the
yeah, yeah.
Bible, it was talking about how Egypt had, I think it said what it said, they took in 10,000 slaves or 1,000 slave Hebrews,
Oh
and
no,
then
no, no.
and when they left,
So
but I mean, I may be
yeah.
wrong on that part with the numbers or whatever, but the
Okay,
thing
yeah, yeah.
it said they left when they let them go. It was like hundreds of thousands or something like that of them.
Eh,
And like
eh,
I can't see no slave economy letting the people grow that big. You dig what I'm
mm.
saying? Like,
No, I feel you. I
you know what
feel
I'm
you.
saying? And then let them go.
Yeah,
That's not slavery.
right, right. Well,
I'm just
uh,
adding on to what you're saying. That's
for
all.
sure, fam.
And I was just asking, wasn't it something like that in the Bible?
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. According to the Bible, not history, but but according to the Bible,
Right.
the reason they came into Egypt was due to a famine, and Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, his own brothers who hated him because their father, Jacob or Israel, loved Joseph so much, type shit. So they sold him into slavery. And while in Egypt, he gained the favor of Pharaoh because he was a dream interpreter. So, because of that, he was able to move his people into Egypt to escape the famine. And as years there, they multiplied to the tune of, yeah, like you were saying, biblically, there were supposedly so many of them that the Pharaoh said he was going to kill their firstborn sons by dropping them into the Nile. So eventually after the whole Exodus type, where you got the plagues and shit like that, which was just naturally occurring
Right.
phenomenon. it
All right.
is say that they were allowed to leave Egypt with treasure and everything else. And the numbers, you right, the numbers were just counting the men. It was like shit, hundreds of thousands of men, but it didn't count the women or the children. So actual historians are saying that if the Exodus did take place and if they really did leave Egypt the way the Bible said it, shoulder to shoulder, they would have formed a line that was not only miles long but miles wide, leaving Egypt.
Right.
and there's no
They would damn near
historical
outnumber
record.
the people in Egypt.
Right,
So
and they say any mass migration like that would have been recorded by somebody back then. It would have
Right.
been noticed and recorded by
Yeah.
somebody back then.
And you know, Egyptians wrote everything down.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's writings everywhere. That's why they had writings everywhere. They wrote
so
everything
Well,
down.
they did write down, and they do tell of a people called the Shepherd Kings or the Hyksos who came in to invade Egypt, and they got in on the borders and shit, and they were there for some time before the Nubians eventually evicted them out of Kemet. So a lot of historians are saying the story of the Exodus was really a plagiarization of what happened to the Hyksos when they were expelled out of Egypt.
well, even the presentation of this Charlton Heston, friend, these good white folks and these evil Egyptians. Come on, man. All up in your brain. It's all up in your brain. You don't even know it. You've been programmed. You got to break out of the programming, man. You got to unplug from the matrix. It's Outlaw Radio on a Monday night, live from the
I
basement. I got
forgot
the witch
about that
doctor.
Charleston Heston.
Man, come on, man. Mr. NRA himself. I got
Break
the witch
free
doctor.
from the mental slavery.
Oh
Brother
shit!
Huge Hefner in the building. The right Reverend Huge Hefner, right Reverend Hefner in the building. 262-202 out 5131 262-202-5131 Outlaw Radio. Sharon Evans said there's blacks that move silently behind the lines to screw us over. Example, Shaq taking over Papa John's Pizza.
Definitely.
So if we cancel Kanye, we will be canceling plenty Negroes. But if you're willing to cancel Kanye because he said some crazy shit, cancel yourself, because it ain't a motherfucker walking who ain't said something stupid at one point or another.
Straight up.
Shout out to Jason Fadilli. Reality check, absolutely, family. Chantel Gwen said people are still being bought and sold and traded every day. When will it stop? Right. MC Tone said,
Hey, look,
MC Tone don't
it's
let
the
them
same
hold.
thing when you leave one job and go to another job.
Well, we got an NFL. Shit. They got a combine.
The NFL, yep. NFL. I mean, you know
NBA,
what I mean?
goddamn it, you know, come on, man. Man, listen. Look at all the experimentation they doing with DNA splicing and all this kind of stuff, man. Our biology is unique, and we already know about the sister Henrietta Lacks, who they took her cells and was able to revolutionize medical care and all this kind of stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, listen, stop playing, man. Stop acting like these people ain't crazy. Stop acting like they ain't been wild. What? No, the Jews wouldn't do that. Right. The whole ocean came apart so the Jews could get away from them evil ass Egyptians. Fuck out of here. Chantel Quinn said, how many generations are still trying to heal hundreds of years of hurt in every possible way? It's in our DNA. My rage is inherited. My anger is inherited. I was a mad baby. For real. My anger is inherited.
It's funny how they call it evil, how they say evil Egypt, right? A lot of people don't study the culture, don't know the culture. They don't know the spiritual systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, okay, that's just Egypt right there. But every country, every tribe in Africa basically had the same spiritual systems. They had different languages and shit. You know what I mean? So, like, when you talk about the spiritual system is based around love. It's white people that put this demonization on our culture.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And like I like that kind of it triggered me a little bit when we talked about the book Evil
Egypt.
You know what I'm saying? Like I hate when people talk like that because that's something that we was taught to demonize our own shit.
Right. Well, the deep black jungles of Africa. Africa is a wild land full of uncivilized savages.
Cannibals, headhunters.
We helped them out with enslaving them.
Yeah. And when the truth is, we grew plants. I mean, we grew fruit in the earth and out the trees. If you was hungry, you could go grab some fruit and eat it. It wasn't us that had to be cannibals. It was them people that was in the caves and shit where did nothing grow. And they had to figure out what the fuck they was gonna eat.
Gonna take somebody else shit.
But they gonna call us cannibals.
Right. Well,
Fuck
we
out of here.
savages, right?
Why would I eat my brother when I can eat an apple?
Right.
Right.
You cut a motherfucking hand off for not picking enough diamonds or mining enough diamonds a day, but we savages. Right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Right. You come with gunpowder and bullets and murder women and children, but we savages, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Because it's too hot for us to wear them big ass white wigs they was wearing and shit. And all them clothes. They savages, don't they got on? Look at what the fuck you got on. Jason Fideli said they don't want to lose the power structure, and we are part of that. But then we have empowered them to the point so if we take our power, it can damage the system of power because we play a major key in that. Absolutely. I mean, we pawns. We know that. Kamar,
we can take the power away if we quit spending our money with them.
That's the beginning of it, right? And Kamar, you've been on here so long, you done forgot. Remember we did the show Players and Pawns where we talked about that. We did a show called Players and Pawns where we talked about as a black person, where you at in your life right now? Are you a player or are you a pawn? I think it comes down to if a lot of us really self-examine and admit we're pawns and we think we players. I'm a pawn because I don't have enough money not to be yet. Right. And when I say that, not that I can buy freedom, but if I had enough money, I could insulate myself with people around me who could assist me in getting things done. That's what power is.
Yeah.
It ain't about how
you
you have put on. You feel me?
Ain't nothing wrong with recognizing that in yourself, understanding where you at.
Yeah, you better know it.
If you don't want to be a pawn, now the thought is, what do I have to do to be a player?
Exactly. I mean? There's so many self-righteous some of them bitches out here. That's why we got so many. As Bernie Mac would say, there's self-righteous some of the bitch. There's so many of us who think we the shit, and really you just some shit on a piece of toilet paper. I know I'm going too far. Bucket. Temp services are paid well when the employer hires after the 90 days. Yeah, they take a little bit out your check until you get hired. I already know I was made in a test tube. There's only one MC Tone. I'm gonna have to definitely agree with that, MC Tone. You are one of a kind. MC Tone, they broke the mold with you, brother. Absolutely. Dion said the Jews don't even have a land. Israel is actually Palestine, which America gave them such an alley-oop and assist with acquiring. Come on, talk about it. This ain't anti-Semitism. Is that how you say
facts?
It? Right,
it's facts.
Right. I was born into the revolution. I think she was responding when I said I was born angry. Absolutely was. I was a mad-ass little kid. People who knew me when I was little said that little motherfucker was always mad. Come on, man. Man, listen, it's inherited, is what I'm saying. Go ahead, Rel. I cut you off.
Oh no, it's all good. I was just saying it's facts. And then it was I wish I remember the rapper's name, but he was on the Breakfast Club and he was saying how he just wanted more knowledge of Palestine to see if they are different than what's portrayed in the media. And he said when he went over there and you could literally see the difference between the Jewish side and the Palestinian side, he said he saw on the Palestinian side, they had to get water from a reservoir that the whole community had to get water from. And you could literally look into the reservoir and see like worms and stuff swimming in it, like different parasites. He said, but then when you look over the wall on the Jewish side,
luxury.
You seen Olympic style pools and mansions and shit. So he was like, as a father, he could only imagine how the psyche of a Palestinian father giving his child this parasitic water while being able to see Olympic style or Olympic sized pools that they just swimming in for recreation. So it's like when you hear about shit like that, you know, all our life in America, when we ever hear about Palestine, we hear about terrorists and how they, you know, terrorists blowing themselves up and shit like that. But
that's why they over there warring so hard and shit too.
Well, don't y'all understand?
How the fuck I'm gonna watch y'all eat good and drink good, and you know what I mean? And my kids is right
on some land y'all took from us,
living on their faces.
From us. Now here go the crazy part where it come full circle. Because you say the Palestinians, right? You say that America basically assisted in Israel taking his land from them, and they hold them down. A lot of their weaponry is straight from us, okay? But what did the Palestinians do? They came to America and went into the black communities and established a foothold.
Mm-hmm.
And they were allowed to do so. So
Yeah.
America is basically saying, no, we're going to get them they land. Fuck y'all, but y'all come over here and take some of this nigga land in their community. It's the same thing as you talking to
Y'all
the
come help.
Egyptians.
Y'all come help us keep our foot on their neck.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing as those evil Egyptians, right? That Charleston Heston had to part the sea to get away from, but then Elizabeth Taylor goes back and plays Cleopatra. Wait, which one is they? Is they evil or is they glamorous, right? And you got white people, but still,
Well,
what is it?
hey,
Brad Pitt just
I
played an
can answer
Egyptian.
that. I can answer that. Let me go back. The Egyptians probably were evil. The Cometians are the ones I was speaking of.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Egyptians were Greek.
Right.
Cometians, that was us.
Okay. Okay.
Now what you got over there now, you got Egyptians. When Greece took over Egypt, that's when they changed the name to Egypt. They start changing the names to all the different,
right.
What they called was deities, but they ain't deities, it's different energies.
Right.
So it ain't just
changing the names because they changed the names because they knew that we understood how words were vibrations, and these different energies had vibrations. So we had to speak these names to create these vibrations. You did.
So it ain't just Semitics. It actually means something. We got a caller. Oh man, turn down your device, caller. Turn down your device.
Okay. Sorry about that.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Chantel.
How you doing?
From fine.
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, you see, I've had a lot of comments, so I just finally had to call it in.
That's what's
My
up.
thing is that we're talking about the structure of black businesses and how we trying to build things up. My thing is that I don't know who's been living in Milwaukee for most of their life, but there was a time where a lot of African American women were starting their own daycare centers. And once they let a lot of women get their daycare business started, the state came in and they shut them all down at one time. What makes people think everybody going in today, their own different products, say natural products, say book selling and things like this? What makes people think that can happen again on a larger scale? History repeats itself, and that's what y'all been talking about all night is history. So if we want to really look at what's going on in this community, and that's why I have been screaming from the rooftops. If we don't save us, nobody else is going to save us. The same way y'all feel. And I feel the same. But what we got to do is start playing chess and stop playing checkers and start thinking ahead of the game. So the same way all daycare centers got shut down in one single year, everybody who's building up their own private family businesses, you think they ain't systematically thought of ways to shut all that down? The main way is killing babies off from brand new to 25 years old. There's nobody to buy nothing from nobody. So it makes no sense to me. We don't see this coming. We don't see them giving us a little to take back from us again. Does anybody recall that happening in Milwaukee? Then everybody started going into transportation businesses, and they start getting transportation contracts. It's gonna happen again. They're gonna everybody build up their little bitty businesses, and they're gonna shut everything down. And if people don't think that it's happening or gonna happen, hey, y'all reward, y'all go ahead and rewind this back and play it back because I've been saying it. I've been in the community.
It's two parts to
business owners, and I believe in Outlaw Radio. Y'all always got positive messages. And like you said, if anybody else is scared to say it, I'm not scared to say it. I've been fucking with y'all too long. It's the motherfucking truth. If y'all don't think they letting people build up a little bit so that they can take even more than what they took the last time, all fools. All fools. Don't be no fools. Don't think they're gonna let you build it up just as much as they want you to, and then they're gonna get down.
That's what's up.
I'm sorry.
It's all good, my sister.
Y'all be bringing it out in me. I'm sorry. I've been a little conversational today, but when y'all bring up history, y'all gotta think. They wiped all those black women's businesses out of one city in less than a year. So what makes us not think that they can't close the Sherman Phoenix down in a year? Look at how much we're doing in the community. We got our own little spot. We got our own little Everybody doing their thing. What makes y'all think they can't shut that down whenever they get ready? What makes y'all think there's not a button waiting to be pushed?
Well, we don't know, but we're gonna discuss
It's
it tonight and figure it out.
it's two
Yeah,
things.
that's what I'm trying to do.
It's a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot that you just asked about, right? First,
Thank
Right.
you was
y'all for letting
talking.
me talk. Y'all have a good one.
All right, my sister. Thank you.
All right.
Passion on a
It was
Monday.
it was a lot. It was a lot that she had to say. I understand her passion too. One is
Mm-hmm.
she talked about the daycares that got shut down and everything. A lot of those daycares that got shut down was doing false
Mm-hmm.
shit. You know what I mean? So they got caught doing that and they got shut down. And then she talked about how different people move to different types of businesses, like transportation. Well, what happens in our community a lot of the time is when somebody start doing good or something, more people start
Mm-hmm.
to it and jumping into that type of business. But the thing is, we have to do business the right way, so they can't shut it down.
Okay.
You know what I mean? As
And
long as you
yeah,
follow, as long as you doing business and you following rules by their business rules, you know what I mean? They can't shut you down.
right.
So I
Gotcha.
think for us, you know what I mean, we have to do some research on
Right.
this business thing and really get our shit tight.
Right. And
Gotcha.
keep your documents and records up tip top. Because I remember when I was a kid, I remember family had me on their daycare roster, and we really didn't go to the daycare, but it allowed them to get paid. It allowed them to get like state supplement and shit,
Yeah, they
and
get a payment.
eventually,
Yeah.
right, eventually they daycare closed down. But that was just me as a kid. So that let you know that's when I was like shit, 3 and 4 years old. Here I am 39 now. So that lets you know how long ago that was. Like even now, my family finally did get licensed with a PNCC, the Prenatal Care Coordination Agency. Is now licensed in the Nevaeh House. Any pregnant women out there looking for resources, but the reason it was such my mother done put their license in a year ago. But at that time, we didn't know it. They had shut off all applications because they was cracking down on niggas being fraudulent. I mean, there was motherfuckers signing up women who kids were too old. There was agencies telling the women if they sign up, they'd get a cash kickback. Unfortunately, well, like Kamar said, whenever niggas start making money, you better believe that they're about to start auditing shit and
Yeah,
trying to figure
that's
out
how business work. That's what they do in business.
right. Because
So,
when
so
niggas get to making money, they put other niggas on, and then with so many people doing this shit, some people get to doing it unscrupulous, and they got a clean house. But
right.
all the people who kept their records right and did they shit tip top, they still standing.
And I worked for the Boys and Girls Club when they was cracking down, and people had to basically fill out a form so that if their kids needed daycare and they qualified, that it went to us at the Boys and Girls Club. And people really was fretting because, like you said, my cousin get paid for my kids and give me a little something on the side because she, you know what I mean, and they ain't really there. So
Right.
yeah, I know that was part of it. I want to talk about Malcolm. I want to talk about Malcolm X
Yeah,
because
this is good.
the the uh the ridiculous nature of this is, you know, that damn Gay Edgar Hoover, he was a son bitch, wasn't he? I call him the OC, the original cross
Some
dresser.
bitch.
Right. Some of them a bitch, as Bernie Mac call him. You know, the 60s was an evil time. I mean, it's evil now, but this, in terms of what they did systematically to black leadership, is ridiculous. Now, I want to talk about Malcolm X. First of all, as an individual, one of the more solid, credible leaders we have had in our history, right? And the story of Malcolm X is kind of like it's like the phoenix, right? Who was once consumed in flames and then emerged from the ashes as a beautiful bird, a celestial body, if you will. His story is great. The human aspect of what he was involved in caught up to him. I say this all the time. The way Malcolm X spoke about Elijah Muhammad on that particular television broadcast, he had to absolutely know how blasphemous it was, how visceral it was, how now and this is we'll start off with this. in light of what he had discovered allegedly, I've always said this. I think he shouldn't have went at the minister utilizing the white media. I felt like that could have been dealt with behind closed doors and a clean split could have been established. Now, when you read his story, you say, well, he was suspended and then he wanted to get back in and they kind of kept him on ice for a couple of years. And, you know, he was getting ostracized and there was a lot of jealousy and these kinds of things made him react. But I think he betrayed everything he bought into in terms of peace and tranquility and understanding and knowledge when he then goes to the white media and says that this man is a pedophile on television. He is a criminal. And people say, well, if he had little girls, he had little girls. But we talking about the white media here. If that story is going to be told, why wouldn't he go to Ebony Magazine and do it?
Well,
why wouldn't he do it in Jet Magazine? Go ahead, Kamar, because we talking about it. Go ahead.
Well, you just threw that question there at the last second, right?
Okay.
So now I'm forced to figure out this answer to the question too. I don't know why he didn't go to a black magazine or a black thing first, but either way it go, the white media was gonna get a hold of it. Because I also feel like we talk about Kanye today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you run into something that's like totally against what you believe in, like, do you say something or do I let my people keep falling for this shit?
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
You said my people though. So that's what I'm saying. And I know the white media will get a hold to it. But what I'm saying is it shows that he intentionally wanted to discredit and hurt the minister, Elijah Muhammad, by going to the white media. It was intentional. Because if it was done out of love, if it was that kind of situation, you would have said, well, I just don't want my people to be led astray. Hey, y'all, here go the real.
Either way it go, I think it would have been an intention. And I think it was supposed to be intentional.
Okay.
So, you found out about some pedophile ass shit.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly, right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean, okay, we're gonna say allegedly. If it's really allegedly, then you shouldn't speak on it. Period.
Once again, that's the point, though, Malcolm. That's my point.
You know what I mean? But what if it was something that he personally like?
It seemed very personal. It seemed very personal, Kumar. That's what I'm saying.
I seen this shit happening,
right?
Or you know what I mean?
Well, he said he did talk to one of the young mothers. He talked to some of the girls, some of the mothers, the wives. Listen, okay, so I'm guessing there's factual proof that there was. I don't want to use the word concubine, right? We'll say stable, for lack of a better terminology, because that's what we say on Capitol where I'm from. He had he had a stable, right, of young women, and his I guess, and Rail chime in, his explanation was that he was mimicking a biblical figure who was supposed to go and produce many seeds because of his greatness. Am I correct? We're talking about Elijah Muhammad. Is that what his reasoning was behind?
That shouldn't be hidden.
Shit, I'm trying to figure out what biblical person. Only biblical person I can think of is Solomon. Solomon did have a stable of concubines and wives.
Young women that will bear his seed.
Be a secret, though.
Yeah, but
you said young women that
what tend to frown on that polygamy type thing. You know what I mean? Unless you're a Mormon, right? Good luck with that. It shouldn't have been secret, Kamar. So that's where I'm going.
I'm talking about. Okay, if Elijah Muhammad was kicking it like that, I'm saying it shouldn't have been a secret.
Right. No, I get what you. I get you. I get what you're saying.
But everything was kept secret.
Yeah, why was it on the low then?
So you dig what I'm saying?
If it was righteous, why wasn't it? And some Muslims would tell you that's a practice that we, So then why didn't he say, well, it's all good? This is what we do. So, brother, I think there was young. Some of these girls were young, though, I believe.
It get kind of weird, man. Like real shit. Like, respect to everybody's beliefs, but when you get to fucking around with other cultures, G, you get like, okay, perfect example. When they talk about Mary, Jesus' mother, they say according to just the culture of the Middle East, or Jewish culture, a girl is considered an adult. Well, they say as soon as she have her period, but
Right.
they give the age of 12. Now
Right.
to us, 12 is like what the fuck,
Right.
but you know
Sicko.
you gotta right, but you gotta understand like in those cultures, like the bar mitzvah, that's a boy becoming a man at 13. They have that for women, for girls as well, where they're considered a woman at 13.
Hebrews kick it like that too.
Well, yeah, because they one and the same, you know. Ishmael, Jacob, you know. I mean, now what was it? Ishmael and Isaac. Yeah, Isaac and Ishmael. You know, both Abraham kids. You know, so they the same thing. Shit, the Arabs was Ishmael, and the Israelites were.
I don't know if I could take sides with some people who think like this.
I mean, you know, when you deal with other
saying.
cultures, honestly, like when you deal with other cultures, they not just the only ones. You know, there's African cultures who see the same thing.
And I ain't gonna take charge with them either.
Right. I mean, it ain't for me to, you know, speak on or judge with it because that's their culture, and
Well,
I don't
most of
know.
us in this, most of us as foundational Black Americans, our great grandmothers was 13 and 14 when they first bore children and was married.
Right, to a
So,
19-year-old and shit, you know.
Women have long been compromised in terms of when is she a woman? Like when is it ready? Is it done?
Then
like,
but then what kind of condition? What conditions were those under?
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. As
Well,
Austin
I
Dora
mean,
would say.
are you talking about in the Black community or
Like
in the
we
Jewish?
was talking about our great grandparents was 13.
Damn near the same.
I'm just saying, like we talking about slavery and shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it was. I don't know.
I ain't talking about slavery. I'm talking
about.
No,
it was beyond slavery.
I'm
it was
talking
like
about
the
1900s.
Yeah,
1920s.
Well, I'm speaking on that because that's what we was just saying. Like our great grandparents was getting passed off at 13, and I was like during them times too. Like it was like added. Like okay, that shit was going on, but then like with slavery, it's added too now. Like you finna give me some babies because we finna sell these babies, and you know what I'm saying. Like it was a lot more added to it with the slavery shit during them times. We talking about with our great grandparents.
If Elijah Muhammad encouraged and was okay with Malcolm bad mouthing MLK to the white media, then why not? Absolutely right. Listen, there we go. There we go, Sharon Evans. There we go. I said I was gonna get my cash register, y'all. I'm gonna get it.
The chickens came home to roost.
Yeah. I mean, he taught him everything he knew, right?
Hey, but you know what?
He taught him everything he knew.
But didn't they say though at first, like when he first started getting ostracized by him, they were saying that his head was getting too big. He was thinking of him. And you know what I mean? I feel like at that point when he learned about other Muslims, worldly Muslims and shit, you know what I mean? He should have just drifted off into that instead of having so much to say.
That's what I'm saying, Kamar. That's what I'm saying. Look, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about because the alleged assassins of Malcolm X have been acquitted and have now won $1 million, 40, 60 million their states from New York. From the state of New York, they've won because they sat behind bars for 20, 30 years and they knew that they didn't do it. This indicates high-level conspiracy. Okay.
The movie, the latest Malcolm X movie, they talked about how them brothers couldn't have did it.
I seen a documentary on Netflix last year, 2 years ago, called "Who Killed Malcolm X." Was bone chilling. I'm talking about the detail that they explained.
Talked about it. They said on there they didn't think they did.
Well, the dude who did it was this dude finally tracked him down after 30 years and went to his home in New Jersey, but he didn't get to him until the day after he died. And everybody in New Jersey from this particular mosque knew who this brother was, and they knew he'd done it. There's a uniform belief in amongst them that I know now they probably wouldn't openly admit, but they've all long said. So what? I've heard the minister say, you didn't feed him, you didn't save him, you didn't raise him. And if he became a traitor and we chose to cut his tongue out or something, I don't want to misquote the minister, but he said, what you gonna do about it if we did do it? Now, I just want to know who's colluding with who. Now, the exoneration of these assassins, does that not say you got to turn to the nation and say, who really did it and what part did y'all play in it?
And
It's,
that's what my question is right there.
reveal
Like,
it to
hey,
heal it.
listen, hey, look, because I understand this. I know how tight the NOI is, they security, or the FOI. You know what I mean? They security tight.
Yeah, they dope.
Right.
You know what I mean? Motherfucker come in there like with a gun. First off, how you get in here with a gun? You know what I mean? These brothers, they tight. Now you shoot
Coincidentally,
Malcolm X during a speech.
right.
How do you make it out without nobody knowing who the fuck you is? And these two
It's a
motherfuckers go to prison, and now they talking about they didn't do it.
It was
Somebody
three.
got, come on, man, or three
Right.
people here. Now
Yep.
somebody got something to answer to. Like, I got
Yep.
questions.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rail.
Oh no, I was
Absolutely,
gonna say
Jamal.
it's a brother. I don't know if y'all fuck with Professor James Small, but
Yeah,
he's a guy. He's a consultant to the what's the name of that show? I used to watch it
he's a
on
master teacher
Stars.
too.
Yeah, he a master teacher. He was a imam. Like he said, he took over the mosque after Malcolm and shit. He Godfather of Harlem. He's a consultant to the Godfather of Harlem,
Okay.
that show on
Okay.
Stars.
One of my
But
favorites.
he was saying it's dope, ain't it? But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
but he was he was but he
That's
was
just tight.
he was saying how even back then they all knew who killed Malcolm. He said, but at that time I'm gonna find that interview. But he said
Right.
at that time he was still deep with the Nation of Islam,
Uh-huh.
and the whole community was a Nation of Islam. So it was just like, oh well, Malcolm was a traitor. You know, he
Right.
said
Malcolm was a
before
traitor.
before they like venerated him as this great hero, he said just in the hood, everybody seen him as a sellout traitor.
Mhm.
He was in the
Right.
nation. He left the nation and spoke bad on the honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he was like, people knew who killed him. We wasn't gonna say nothing because it was just a traitor
It's
getting
our
handled.
business. Well, I
You
just said there was a uniform
They was
kind
gonna
of
call
belief
it.
that he should have been, that it was justified what happened to him. Now, I will say this. It doesn't matter. I do believe Malcolm handled it wrong. I do believe he handled it wrong, but it does not justify what was done to him. For
Right.
you to murder a man in front of his young children and his wife. See, because what you basically did is you did to him what the white man usually does to us for standing up. And if he ultimately was standing up for the truth and saying, I'm telling the truth because you can't be taking a high moral ground when you're doing this with these young girls. So basically you just did the white, you spoke fluent white man on him. Now, what I can't speak on is I'm not a Muslim and I'm not a part of the nation. And especially during that time when things were, when we talk about history, we make the mistake so often of leaving out the context of the situation. We'll talk about history from 2022 as if it was 2022 then, right? When it was a whole different world. And there's a whole different scenario and situation going on with the nation and America and Black America and all of that. It was a whole different thing. So more often than not, you ask the people who were damn near fanatical about it back then because at one point it appeared as if it was the best thing going. I tell you what, as a Black person coming out of the 40s and the 50s and into the 60s, and I got this from my mom as well, she told me, it damn sure felt a lot better to see those Muslims dressed in those suits with those bow ties talking about order and discipline and structure than it did seeing our broke down ass getting off them trains in Chicago with a piece of luggage and no clothes and toe up shoes. She said we looked a hot mess. My mother always talked about her leaving Mississippi, coming to Milwaukee, getting off the train and didn't even have a coat in January in Chicago. With the wind blowing. She's like, I was maybe 98 pounds because I was half fed. The wind was damn near blowing me down. She said a Black lady took her to the store in the Chicago train station and bought her a coat. Another Black lady who was, coming up from the South with her family, seen her and said, here, I'm gonna get you a coat. And so she said it just made us feel better. It looked better. It seemed like that was the way to go until the Malcolm rift. Until that happened. So I don't believe what they did to him from my perspective as a non-Muslim. I believe it's out of order. I believe it's crazy that you don't let him move on. What else did he know is what I would ask. What else did he know? Who else did he have dirt on? Because obviously this was a collaboration. This wasn't just them.
Right.
I want
Man,
to say,
hey,
Gay Eggers' men was in there. I want to say that we know the police, the NYPD was involved. They had a
that's what I
special
said,
squad.
man. The FOI is tight. Like they security tight.
They
Well, it
cold.
was
Yeah.
obviously they was
What
tight with
what
some feds.
Hey,
what the my bad.
I
No,
was
go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, man, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like with shit like that, I think about like the whole organization. You know what I mean? Malika, Assalamu alaikum. May peace be with you. Right? That's something that they live by, they go by every day. You know what I mean? And then unless something like this happen to somebody, you know what I mean? Like, do you determine when peace is with somebody now? Like, goddamn, I might be thinking too deep, and I probably shouldn't be saying
I
the shit I'm saying.
mean,
You feel what I'm saying, real? You see where I'm going with this?
yeah,
Like,
I
okay,
feel what you're saying,
if I'm
fam, but
living by this, if I'm living by this, if I'm saying peace, may peace be with you. Like I always say, peace, peace, brother,
mhm.
peace, peace, peace. But then I let somebody do something to somebody,
I
and
mean
you know
they
what I mean. I let somebody cause harm to somebody.
the
First of all,
human
I want to
mind
You
say,
is
understand? Dog, man, come on, man. This shit ain't right.
go ahead,
mhm.
Rail. I'll let you go.
Oh, I was gonna
This
say
shit ain't right.
the human mind is capable of rationalizing anything, fam. And even though they're the nation of Islam, and they say peace be on to you and shit like that, we gotta understand most of the obscenities and heinous shit that happen in the world happened under one of the three Abrahamic religions, whether it was Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. So people always rationalize why they move the way they move. Like I was on Clubhouse today, and the topic was is is the concept of God dead in today's time? And I went in there just to hear what they was talking about, but it was the Hebrew Israelites cussing motherfuckers out. And then when another Hebrew Israelite was like, brother, we still need to
Stop.
respect each other's levels and come with them with answers of love. He like, this ain't anger, this the zeal of the Lord. Because if the Lord hop on their ass, they really gonna.
You see what I'm
So
saying, man?
people always like that religion shit
Gotta
kind of go
stop
out the
this shit,
door,
man.
and
Gotta
they and
stop
they
this
they
shit.
use it right, and they use it to justify their anger, hatred, and shit. And it's like, my thing is, if God's so big and bad, why he need you to fight his battles? Why are you outraged at somebody else's beliefs? But again, going back to Brother Smalls, he was saying at the time that Malcolm, transitioned or passed, the fruit of Islam wasn't fucking with him like that, to the point where
Right.
he actually had gangsters as well. He had to have like Bumpy Johnson people as his protection, and they said
And that's what's
like
fucked up.
a couple days before he died, he actually told Bumpy to fall back because he like, I can't be associated with gangsters and criminals. So the fruit of Islam wasn't protecting him at that time. The gangsters
So how,
actually was.
but and see, the gangsters was protecting them from the fruit of Islam.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
pretty
Hey
much.
man, listen. Let me tell you, man. One of the biggest things that pushed me away from gang banging is watching how gang bangers treat each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so religion, like, okay, I see how y'all treat each other. Like back then, I'd have saw that shit and it would have pushed
Right.
me the fuck away.
Right.
Like how we turning on each other like this, man, to where it comes to death. What the fuck? And now ain't nobody saying nothing but y'all steady telling me, may peace be with you. We was just saying that to him a few months ago.
I mean, Eric, I feel you, man, but
Dog, this shit bothers
I
me, man.
I
Like
I,
how
I,
fucked
I, I
up we
feel you.
are. And we been
I
like this
feel you.
since slavery.
I just think
We
it's
been ready
crazy
to
that
cut each other heads off.
I just think it's crazy that all the stuff that was happening to us at the time, and even one of the episodes that started some of the anger and some of the contention, is the Muslims in LA who were murdered by the police. Just gunned down, killed unjustifiably, and Malcolm wanted to take action because he's like, we've been telling these people
Yeah.
that we wanted when it was time to go, we were going to be ready, and we were placed here to protect this community and hold them down. So we got to put up or shut up. And at the time, I guess Elijah Muhammad, for whatever strategic purposes, said no, just hold off. We can't go against the LAPD. Like we ain't ready for that. But Malcolm wanted to
Let's
move. So
let's
with all of
just
the rhetoric and the
strategic
things he
purpose.
was saying, and the whole thing is we're gonna stand and we're gonna if somebody fuck with us, we're gonna take them out. He's actually the only person they ever killed.
Yeah.
And he was one of them, like Kamar said.
Right.
So he's the only one who really got their justice. The only real Muslim justice we saw was perpetrated upon him.
God
So,
damn.
now I know brothers who are on the inside say, no, that's not true. A lot of Muslims led pipe squadrons and all that stuff. I'm gonna let y'all do your research, right? Just know that I know that you know that I know that I've done a lot of reading on it, because I still to this day have a lot of admiration for Minister Farrakhan. And I
Mhm.
and I understand there's growing pains within any organization. There are situations that spin out of control. Things have to happen, and I think that what the nation became in the 90s, in the 80s, and the 90s during the crack epidemic, when Black America really needed something, because that Black church had failed us at this point. That Black Christianity had failed us at this point, and we needed something to come along and take a stand and represent truth and give people structure. And I felt like the minister led the Nation of Islam back, and they became prominent again under his watch and under his leadership, right? Because it had fallen on ruins after what happened with Malcolm. Because a lot of people justifiably looked at it and said, see, that's that bullshit. That's why I didn't even go to the mosque. That's why I don't buy bean pies. That's why I don't buy the final call, right?
Them
Because,
shit's delicious.
well, we be looking for a
It
reason to
is,
leave
dog. The
anyways, right?
pies is delicious, man.
Black people be
I ate
looking
a
for a
whole fucking
reason.
pie. I went Outlaw. Everybody over here laughed at me, right? Because I had a pie and I was happy because didn't nobody
Right.
want nothing.
Right.
Whole fucking pie.
Black people be looking for a reason to leave anyways. Like we be as soon as some shit happen, I'm see,
Yeah.
that's that bullshit. And we
Right.
go.
Right.
Right
Right.
now, how many Catholics have left the Catholic Church when you found out that Father and them was up there running up in the choir boys? How many
Right.
Catholic people abandoned ship, right? If your Semitic people look at the history of some of the things they've done in this country, and the truth is told about them being involved in organized crime and this kind of thing, would they leave Judaism? No, they wouldn't. It's us who do this shit. It's us who's shit. Because like people say, well, fuck the Nation of Islam because they killed Malcolm. If they did, what the fuck it got to do with you in 2022?
Well, I'm not saying, yeah, and I'm not saying fuck them. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
I'm not
fuck
talking
them.
about you. I'm
I'm
not
just
talking about
saying
you.
that was some fucked up shit back then that happened. And
Oh
you know
yeah,
what I mean? For everybody that had
Yeah.
the same belief, and then this
it's
to
a
go
black eye in
down
the
like
game.
that, that
It's a
was
black
fucked
eye.
up. And I
Yeah,
can say that because
you
that's
can.
how I feel. I can say that.
And
Yeah.
I don't even think any real strict staunch. Matter of fact, if the most dedicated, real hardcore Muslims would just not talk about it with you as a non-member, but even they would
Mhm.
say, no, that's an unfortunate situation on many different levels, and it didn't work out for either of us. It's tragic that it happened because we had went to our heights and then we was down again, and so it's just But once again, the whole point of this, and if you're just tuning
And
in, we're
they helped a
talking
lot
about
of brothers get their lives together too, man.
talking about
I
these
still
we're
do.
talking about these if people just tuning in, we're talking about the would-be assassins, the accused assassins of Malcolm X, being all exonerated, some of them posthumously, and now being paid 40, 50, 60 million dollar settlements by the state of New York, I believe. Deion James said, what about Dr. Khalid Muhammad? I haven't done enough research on what exactly happened between Khalid Muhammad and the minister. From what I gathered, this is what I gathered even back then, was that the minister didn't agree with the way Dr. Khalid was moving, and that he was, doing some things that were back to what we were just talking about, that anger and that from that
Right.
venomous nature of it. Like, not, we don't want you to operate out of hate like that. And
That's the
so,
same thing I
but I
heard
don't know
too.
the details of it. So if you know better, than call in 262-202-5131. I'm gonna assume one of y'all know more about Khalid than me. That was my college years. I was high a lot, so I missed a lot of shit.
Well, I heard the same thing you heard.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a bunch of different like offshoots. I mean, just like with any organization or religion, there's going to be a disagreement, And then when there's a disagreement, sometimes motherfuckers go off on like I love talking with the Nation of Gods and Earths. And
Oh
but you
yeah,
know that's brother what Clarence 13X.
Clarence 13X, absolutely. What they call him,
So
father.
yeah, so I mean, and they got that knowledge too. I love that
Yes,
shit.
sir. I
But
love the science.
man, it's dope. But
Yes, it is.
but you know, there's always
You know what
different
I'm saying?
offshoots and shit, you know, and that's just what happened with family. Family ain't gonna see eye to eye all the time, and people gonna decide to go their different ways, but still retain some of that goodness. Like I fuck with the Muslims because they hold their people down, G. Like I know a dude that every time that nigga get out of jail, they got a car waiting for him, a house waiting for him. And be like, damn, if they hold, if they maybe I need to become Muslim and shit. They ain't never gotta have. Just give me that shit now. I ain't going to jail.
Right.
But
Right.
but I mean they do hold they folk down, you know. So just like with any organization, there's that underbelly that nobody want to have revealed, and then there's that good shit that you know sometimes also go unseen.
Yeah, and Deion James, we know that they're not Orthodox Muslims. And shout out to my boy Ali Grays, who is a Sunni Muslim. I believe Sayer is too. I don't know. I got to check with him. Who's always supporting the show. Shout out to Sayer. We still got to do this. I said the science. I was talking about the math. I was talking about the math when you talk to a 5%er and you say, well, you
Supreme
know,
mathematics.
right? You talk, well, what's the knowledge? Today's knowledge, and they'll drop and man,
Right.
cipher divine, and you break down those numbers and you look at, you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I love them. I used to try and do it on here, and then I just stopped because I
You
didn't
know
want
what's
to whoop my
dope?
ass because I couldn't
You
interpret
know
all
what's
the
dope?
numbers. So it's based on the date, and so there's a
Yeah. So
what
today the
number stands
31st.
for.
So I think that
Supreme
would be
mathematics.
what would that be?
You know,
Understanding and knowledge. 3 is understanding, 1 is knowledge. So
Something like that.
I think you know. Hopefully, I ain't disrespecting them about fucking it up, but I think
It's
1
beautiful.
is knowledge,
you know
2
what's
is
dope?
wisdom, 3 is understanding.
So for the 31st,
Yep.
it'd be like wisdom and wisdom born understanding.
Uh,
Like you got to get them to
under
put it together.
right. It'd be so dope when they do it, man.
Yeah,
But
Hey,
slick with it.
it all aligned with spirituality.
mm-hmm.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? When you start studying the spiritual systems and everything, even with the chakras, and you know what I mean, you talk about the
Right.
different faculties of the spirit, you know what I mean, in the math, all that shit is the same. You can put it all
Mm-hmm.
together. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's cold and it's dope. You know what I mean? And that's why I say that's one of the reasons why I quit debating and quit arguing with people about these different factions. You know what I mean? Because it's all the same. If you take the
Mm-hmm.
time and open your ears a little bit, you can hear it. You can kind of see it. You know what I
Right.
mean? How it all connect to
It,
each other.
if y'all
It's all,
focus on building together instead of the differences, when you
yeah.
focus on the similarities and how y'all can build together, it's always a beautiful thing.
And then
But
if you talk long
unfortunately,
enough,
yeah,
your differences become similarities. And that's what I'm
Sometimes,
getting at about like when
or
you talk about the
understanding at least,
mathematics
not
and the
necessarily
spiritual
right,
system.
similarity,
right.
or at least
You
an
know what I
understanding,
mean?
Kumar, not necessarily similarity.
It's same thing. It becomes you get an understanding, and like I
Okay.
say, differences become similarities. You know what I mean? Because you understand how your differences are the same, and it's dog. It's
Okay.
understanding. This is that
Okay.
shit we
I can
talking
feel you on
about.
that
It
level.
all fall under the same umbrella. Trust me.
That's Dr. Farrar Muhammad. Yes, and he's shrouded in secrecy. Farrar Muhammad is, who was he? Where was he from? What was he really? Kicked out of Milwaukee. Forced to go back to Michigan, like, door-to-door silk salesman. Was he Middle Eastern, as they called it? Where's he from? There's a lot of mystery around who he was and what happened to him. Like, for real. Like, if you look, like, a lot of people, what happened? He just all of a sudden Elijah Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's from Missouri, I believe. It just kind of on the scene, like, boom, I'm in charge. And so it's very, very, very lengthy history and research. Why are you laughing? I'm not lying. He was. He was a
I'm
light-skinned
just,
dude with
hey
curly
man,
hair.
I'm laughing, man, because you know what I mean. Like really, dog. This is how religion is. Like
Right?
fresh
Okay.
on the scene, boom, I'm in charge.
Was that a hostile takeover? Did he just come
Who
from?
knows? Nobody
I
knows.
mean,
Listen, I have still not found. There's so many theories. There's so many theories from him being deported to him
he
being
said boom,
murdered to
I'm in
him.
charge.
Like, yeah, well, you look. Anybody who thinks I'm lying about this, go and do the research. Because when I was young, when this whole kind of Muslim thing, and I'm saying young, but I was about 14, 15 when this whole Muslim thing just kind of started to take over. So naturally, me being a young black man who was conscious of what Black America, where we were, who we were, where we need to go, right? And thanks to my mother, because she always kept that at the forefront of everything. Listen, you's a black man, so know this, know that, know this, know that. So I was looking at it, and I happened to go to school with a young brother, and he was into it. He was bow tying, cut his curl off. He had the final call paper. So I used to grab one from him all the time, and I used to just go through them. I'm a voracious reader anyways. And so I used to just pick up on everything I was seeing there. And he's got to talking about Savior's Day. And I started looking at the different messages and stuff. And I said, let me see where this came from. And what called, because I honestly, like I said, my father was a Baptist preacher. So spirituality is right on my shoulder, no matter what. I got to believe in something, right? So I said, you know what? I think this is where I'm going. And I remember having a conversation with my father, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, I don't approve of that. But if you can go and produce the research to me and tell me why this is valid for you to do right now, I won't stop you. I won't say nothing, but I'm going to hold you accountable for what you say you're going to do. So if I see you faking with this, I'm going to call you on it. So I went and done the research. And when I got to that kind of murky part about where this started and what happened, and I said, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And I told Pops, nah, I'm straight. But I stopped going to Baptist church too, but that's a different show. So anyway, I'm just saying it's if you want a good read instead of watching a fake ass movie about black women who's kicking white men's asses and stopping slavery, go get a book and read up on the real history of the nation. Read up on Farad Muhammad, right? Like I said, Farad Muhammad. I don't know if I'm saying his
He
name
said
right. Brett Favre. What you say?
He said fart.
It's Fard. It's
I know, I
Fard.
know. I'm just
Okay.
talking shit, boy.
You trying to knock me off my shit. It's all good.
He said fart.
With friends like these, right? Right. He said fart, right? He called him Fart Muhammad. No, I didn't.
Oh man.
Right. What else I wanted to talk? I wanted to talk about so much more stuff, but I'm gonna save some for Wednesday. There was something because we talked about the Jewish machine. Kyrie Irving is in trouble right now. But Kyrie, I don't know what, because he put up, what is this Israelite information, or it was saying that the Holocaust never existed. I don't know that I'm ready to say the Holocaust never existed. I'm going to venture out and say I don't think it was worse than the Middle Passage, right? Whenever they bring up the Holocaust as justification to do whatever they did for Jewish people.
Man.
How about we just don't even touch that shit? Like, fuck that shit because it's irrelevant to us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what
like whether
Kyrie's
the Holocaust
motivation
happened
is.
or not, nigga. We still right here on Outlaw Radio.
From what I seen, it looked like, and my biggest issue with the whole Kyrie thing is goddamn, we can't, like, they like the book and documentary you promoting. It's like, what the fuck can we post on social media? It asks us what's on our mind, what we thinking and shit like that. But if you type the wrong shit, motherfuckers is mad at you. If you share some shit, like real shit, I share shit just to offer a non-mainstream point of view. I may not necessarily agree with it, believe it, whatever, but I like to present shit for people to look and make their own opinion. So now it just further shows this whole shit with how they was sweating Kanye. Is like, how the fuck is everything about you off limits? If I want to do some research on my own, besides what your fucking media trying to spoon feed me, now it's hate. It's like shit. I told you I fuck with Dr. Kaba Kamene, Professor James Smalls, fucking Rizza Islam, 19 Keys, like people who actually into, John Henry Clark, people who actually teach history and show how, like, they was Kyrie was saying basically, I was just looking up the name Yahweh, found out that it had African roots, and it interests me. When I went to look, I see that this whole culture has African roots, which shit, I thought everybody knew. Like you can find the genetics in Ethiopia. You can find the genetics in East Africa. Like, you know, these people ain't just like, yeah, first off, it was us. It still is us. Like if you ask anybody who actually do the study, and I ain't never gave it that much time because I was over them after I left, you know, Christianity. I just ain't want to hear shit about that anymore. But when you actually talk to people who got the research and shit, they say that the birthright was Shanghai, you know, by some Kaisers and shit, you know, motherfuckers from Russia just said, hey, this is what we call ourselves now. Fuck them people. You know, I can't say whether it's true or not. I haven't done the research in that, but you should be able to share what the fuck you want. This now instead of burning books, they just canceling people and changing IP addresses. Like some shit you can't even look up on the internet or at least Google right now. Like when I sent that meme to y'all about that supposed quote that he said about how black people was the real jewel of Israel, I had to search for that goddamn meme because so many
No, go ahead. I was talking.
So many motherfucking Snopes or Snoops and all kind of course, you know, the people that say it's misinformation get to popping up. No, he didn't say this. He never said black people were the stolen jewel of Africa, you know. So I had to dig through that shit because the social media and the internet is now so heavily fucking, you know, censored.
A lot of this shit, you know what I mean, the debunk, man, like you say, like the jewel of Israel or whatever. Okay, what region is Israel in?
Man.
You know what I mean? So who would be the jewel of Israel? You know what I mean? So a lot of this shit is just so common sense. It's just that the media feeds so much bullshit you don't even think common sense.
It goes back to who controls the media. Like there's
Egypt. You don't think Egypt is in Africa.
Right. Or these people came up out of Egypt.
I tell you what, I really like the way Rail framed that in terms of I don't necessarily have to always agree with something that I'm presenting. If I'm presenting it just so that both sides or multiple angles can be taken, multiple approaches can be taken. It'd be to me a disservice to our people if we only taught things from one perspective. And I think understanding involves seeing the entire picture. I think understanding involves understanding the minute details and the intangible information and the different variables that create situations that dictate circumstances, right? So that means you have to be multi-tiered and multifaceted in your understanding. Your understanding has to have multiple layers. Because if you can only understand things one way, then you're limited in your thinking. So when we talk about mental fitness, we talk about mental and verbal gymnastics. We talk about the ability to move and maneuver and flip and twist and fly up in the air and pause and come down and all this kind of shit. So it's counterproductive for black people to get tunnel vision. And the only way we can deprogram ourselves of all the lies that have been drilled into our brains for years and years and years is to widen our scope of understanding. Because you have to be able to think outside the box, or you'll never get past George Washington chopped down the cherry tree. Or Benjamin Franklin flew a kite in a lightning thunderstorm and lightning struck and he discovered electricity.
Can you listen to somebody and disagree, but put yourself in their perspectives or in their shoes so you can understand their perspective? You know what I mean? Like I disagree with you.
Right.
But let me listen to you so I can put myself in your shoes so I can try to get where you're coming from.
Right. They say an intelligent person
gain understanding.
Yeah, they say an intelligent person can entertain the thought without accepting it. You know what I'm saying? So you can entertain the thought, and like I do it all. I love discussing beliefs in religion. Right. Do I subscribe to them shits? No, but I'm very interested in knowing what you believe and why. You know, I love that shit.
Then I get to find out why you feel like that.
Well, I always
Exactly.
say I'm a cheerleader for foolishness. I like riding around in the car with my friends doing hood rat shit sometimes. So I have more than one lane, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Right,
Um,
right.
Dion said we were taught so much BS sometimes to be woke is dangerous. You know what? We throw that terminology around, and the reason why it's funny to me, and you hear me make fun of it, because to say you're woke now would indicate that at one point you were asleep, and I can't really, even when I was at my worst in terms of how I moved in my community and I was counterproductive, I was totally aware of what I was doing. I was totally aware of what was happening in the community. I made a choice to partake in that. If we're gonna get into choices, I chose to do certain things, but I was never asleep, right? I was never like I didn't know. I knew, because that's the way I was raised, is to understand. So when I hear somebody say woke, I'm like, okay, for me, it doesn't really apply because I was never asleep. I do understand some people who maybe didn't have the kind of foundation that I had with my mom and my pops, who made sure that certain things were known early on, that they could have been in a semi state of sleep, a state of semi sleep where they weren't aware of certain things. Maybe they didn't know our history. Maybe they didn't understand the big picture of what's happened to us in this country. So for them to get some understanding of it and say, okay, I'm woke now. I just don't like that. I just don't
And
like
you know
that
what,
woke shit.
Ken? Dig this perspective. Like I thought about me, right, when you was talking about that. And like when I was growing, when I was coming up, my mother taught me a lot, all the right shit. Like I knew when I was doing wrong, I knew when I was doing right. I understood about what our people been through and everything. You know what I mean? But then it made me, in some way, it made me feel like I was supposed to rebel. You know what I mean? It felt like I had to go against the system.
Okay.
My all my homies was going against the system, and then by me indulging in this lifestyle, I was in it so tough where I felt like this is what the whole world was. I felt like everybody smoked weed. Everybody in the world smoked weed. That was my perspective. You dig
That's
what I'm
wild.
saying? So, like in a sense, I was asleep until I start coming up out of that shit. Like, wait a minute, man, this is a whole world out here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a whole
Yeah.
life. It's whole new understandings. It's new perspectives I'm gaining. And it's, you know what I'm saying? Now, so in a sense, I understand the term woke. I don't like it though. I don't
Right.
like it
Okay.
because, like we talked about the other day, when we talk about conscious people, you got socially conscious and you got spiritually conscious. You know what I
Got some
mean?
fake
And
conscious too.
woke usually just means
Yeah.
socially conscious.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You understand what's going on to our people out here right now. That's what I feel like woke is. Woke is limited.
Okay. Okay. Dion said I asked someone of a question about slavery. I asked during you talking about the Middle Passage? Yeah, there were some slaves who jumped off the boat. Yeah, there were. And you hear stories about it all the time. Someone was thrown off the boat, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Middle
Some
Passage.
died in the bottom of the boat and was thrown
Right,
off the boat.
right. I mean, the Middle Passage. Once again, the exact horrific nature of the Middle Passage is not really discussed. They talk about the Holocaust and they show the
Right.
skeletons from the ovens. They show the emaciated prisoners that were held in the camps, but ain't no movie coming about the Middle Passage.
Because they got the media. Again, like they got the Holocaust. We got the African Holocaust to King Leopold, who
Oh my
killed
goodness!
millions of slaves, or millions of black folk. We got the transatlantic slave trade that killed so many black folks. Hell, I believe we indigenous to this country, and then you got the Trail of Tears that killed indigenous black folks. So I mean, yeah, there's the Holocaust for those folk, but then there's countless Holocausts and maltreatment of our people, shit, for years upon
Right,
years that
It ain't
still
even
don't
a
get any
word.
cover.
It
Jim
ain't
Crow
even a
South.
word of the shit our people went through.
Right, the Jim
Like
Crow
they got
South. Goddamn.
Holocaust. They got
Yeah.
Holocaust. They got a word for it. We don't even have a word for it. It was so bad.
Right,
They
right.
call it nigga shit. Right. Dion said I had a radical identity because I was raised by my grandfather. He was a sharecropper, so I had a dislike for whites, but I didn't have that in-depth knowledge as I do now. See, my mother was a sharecropper. My father was a sharecropper. And so I got that, but my mother left and came north. So did my father. But my mother was a rebel. So she was all about just rebelling against that whole system. Now, there was a lot of angst for white folks from my mom that she taught me. And she taught me to have a short fuse with them. And she said, you got to let these motherfuckers know right away not to play with you, right? Because if you let them play with you, you give them a foot, they're going to take a mile. But and there was some disdain, but she also told me, but you got to learn how to play these motherfuckers. This is what my mom used to tell me. You got to know how. See, I didn't go to a HBCU. They didn't offer me no money. Matter of fact, I wanted to go to Hampton. He shitted on me. Tell me I wasn't big enough to play in the SWAC, right? Now you would think a black college would say, "Hey, man, okay, well, brother, come on out." And yeah, no, he didn't want nothing to do with me because I wasn't from Missouri, Alabama, Texas. And I say to him, "Man, I throw 300-pounders around all the time. You think I ain't been playing against 300-pounders up here?" Right? But it didn't matter to him. So the HWCU, the historically white college or university, basically said, "No, we'll pay your ass. Come on up here." Now, it could be a different dichotomy because they might have said we just want this big black bear to run around and entertain us. It is what it is. But I'm saying my mother told me in that instance because I was depressed and I was a little, I was a little down. Like, damn, mom, I want to go to Hampton. She said, that's okay. That's okay. You can't go out there. And I said, I don't want to go. I don't want to go with school with all these white people. She said, why? Take your ass up there and learn how to play this game. Because one thing for sure, when you get out of school and you got to get in this workforce, you're going to have to know how to maneuver in America. And white people run America. Not no goddamn HBCU alumni. Never be afraid to get behind enemy lines and do what you need to do. And so that was the kind of basis that I had from my mom in terms of her knowledge and understanding. And she knew when I was teetering, but she also understood the times that I grew up in. So she knew that, hey, this environment has enveloped it. Our community was in shambles. All of us as youngsters at one point, I would say the majority was out here like, look, I got to get mine too. And I refused to be a victim. So you did what you had to do. You got in the game, you got your money. You got you a pistol, you got with your boys, you did what you have to do. The fact of the matter is we were able to persevere and come through it. Right. And so I think that's why right now we should be instrumental. Our generation of brothers who came out of this crack epidemic and now are positive pieces of the community, we really should be going to the young people saying, you ain't got to listen to me today. I'm going to tell you this story and you're going to go through what you go through. And in 10 years, you'll probably remember me and I won't even remember you. And I'll be walking somewhere and as you live your life, you'll see me and be like, that's the dude. And I'll be like, I don't even remember you because you dropped a jewel. And if you can't learn from the people who've been there before you, you can't learn, right? Or you rather hear somebody make up some shit. Sharon Evans said, I would say woke is being open and aware of oneself and beliefs, but also of other perspectives also. I like that. I'm not mad at nobody who calls themselves that. I said me personally, I don't like that term. But no, and especially if you are a person who has a new understanding, you should wear that badge and say, Kev, I was asleep. Like Kamar just said, man, shit. I knew something. I wasn't totally ignorant, but on certain levels, I was asleep. Right. So, and I was too. I allowed myself to go to sleep. I would say I was napping. I wouldn't say I was asleep because I chose to say, I'm gonna turn to. I knew about genocide in the community. I knew what the crack was doing. I watched it. But when it came my turn to make me some money, I did what I had to do, right?
I figured it was a lifestyle, man.
Right.
We used to have dope houses and shit, and we used to live in them, nigga.
The ends justify the means. Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? But we just figured this what it is.
Yeah. There's you get this world, right? Yeah, I get you, Kumar.
Fuck working, fuck going to work, nigga, and all that shit. Like,
yeah, because I remember brothers, you say working man is square. Okay,
you know what I mean. And hey, look, and we talked about that. I don't know, maybe that wasn't y'all. I talked to about that, right? I was talking about me growing up, and like we used to feel like shit, motherfuckers that was living right, going to work, going to school, doing what they were supposed to do or whatever. We used to call them squares. You know what I mean? But then in reality, we was the squares. Because we wasn't doing, what we was doing don't hold longevity.
I mean, it's
what we was doing wasn't living right. We was square to what was really going on in the world. You know
But
what I
would
mean?
naive be a better word though, Kamar, as opposed to square? Wouldn't they were squares? They were squares, but we were naive.
Well, they were naive to the streets.
Right? No, but you're right. But I'm saying they were
But to
squares, like
life,
square with
to
living by the
life,
rules.
I'm talking, but to life, think about the perspective. Like I told you, the perspective that I had back in the day was like, okay, everybody is like this. This is what life is. You know what I mean? Everybody know about this. We got, you know what I'm saying? So we would figure they squares. We would call them squares, but really they was just naive to the streets. They knew about life.
Right.
You know what I mean? People was working jobs. They was building businesses back then and doing certain shit, and they wasn't selling dope. If you didn't sell dope, you know what I mean? In this lifestyle, you was considered a square.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I just think that there's always room for rebellion, and I think that with what they done in our
But
community,
we was square.
I don't know, Kamar. I can't really rock with you on that one.
You ain't got to.
No, I know that. No, I know that. And I'm telling you why I say that is because sometimes those squares, I'm gonna go by the rules, company ass man. I'm gonna go tell. Don't do that. Don't say that. To me, that can be detrimental as well. I think you got to have some maneuverability. You got to be the type of person to say,
Well,
I do what I got to do. So I don't necessarily think being super square was a great thing. And all squares didn't become successful. A lot of them was just doing what they was told. So they had no independent thought and they didn't prosper.
right.
Because I know a lot of squares who looked at me in high school and said, oh, he's going to be most likely to be institutionalized by age 30. And they was right to a certain degree because I was in institutions of higher learning. That they has done more time behind the wall than me. So I'm just saying, it's just a play on words. That's all. I think I agree with what you're saying in that no, you wasn't right because you thought, oh, he a square. I'm finna go out here and gangbang. That didn't make you cool. That didn't make you,
But
he
now,
wasn't wrong. You was. I get what you're saying in that regard.
Now my perspective is I understand better now.
Right.
When I look back now, nigga, I was square. I wasn't building no credit. I wasn't thinking about buying no property.
Yeah, you wasn't no square.
I wasn't thinking about building no business. Nigga, I was square. You dig where I'm coming from now? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we wasn't thinking about that shit. We was just thinking about hustling. We was thinking about going out that night. We thinking about, you know what I'm saying? We ain't thinking about
holding the block down,
about real life.
Right here on this block, holding this block down.
That's it. You know what I mean? So that's why I say when I look back now, I was square. Because I didn't know nothing about life. I didn't know how to build myself up in the right kind of way.
And the way that my terminology for that comes from some OGs who I've had the pleasure of really having conversation with, and they always draw a line between the life and getting squared up. And so when I say square, I think about it from their perspective on how they taught me and not in a negative way, because they're talking about squaring up later on. Basically, it's the result of a maturation process, as opposed to, I don't mean you a nerd or something like that, but saying, no, man, I squared up. But when I was in life, meaning when I was without rules, when I was without boundaries, when my morals was compromised, I did this or I did that. So they say the life. And I would say, well, you were in life at one point. And so, but you squared up. When, a lot of us square. And it's the greatest thing in the world. Listen, peace and tranquility is so underrated. If I on a nice night, that's what this weekend, nice fall night, warm, nice sky, clear, see the moon. I'm sitting out with a glass of wine, having quiet by my house.
You just said the same thing I said. Like I said, now when I look at it, you know what I mean? I was a square back then. But like they said, I done squared up. You know what I mean? Now I'm the square. I'm the square that I was looking at back then.
Laughing at.
You did what I'm saying, man?
Well, no, absolutely. If you talk to my homies now and you say, well, Kev, and we seen Kev in years, Kev squared up. He moved about the hood. And I did.
Yeah.
Kev had 2 kids.
Wrong with that.
I had 2 kids. I had a family. I had 2 kids and a wife. It was time. It was time.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that, man. The objective is to grow up, get up out the hood, get up out the bullshit.
Right. I ain't running from the fight. I'm running to it. Dion said the war on drugs was a Holocaust and move. Most of us that was swept up in that era are still suffering from felony convictions. You're absolutely right. Another piece of holocaustic existence. Sharon Evans says some sleep their entire life. You absolutely are correct. Some people because they don't want to, and some people choose to. Like I don't even want to. I'm good. Just leave me alone. You
Mhm.
eat. You take all the reality you want. Leave my shit alone. I'm dreaming. Don't wake me up. Sharon Evans
Some
said
never
we
get a
were all
chance.
square at
My
some
bad.
point. Yeah. Well, once again, Kamara and I are just our differences on it shows you that
Squares.
at some
But
point we
hey,
all been. You're right.
but you
Somebody's been
see what
square
I'm talking about? How our differences become the similarities. Like,
or
cause really, we
understanding.
found out that we was talking about it's the same thing. You know what I
I was
mean?
programmed but myself, but I also believe in the teachings of Chairman Hoover. Yeah, see, difference in it. I never subscribed to Hoover growing up. Matter of fact, that was the other side of the nickel for
Well,
me.
you know what, on both sides they talk good shit. It just for real. It just got pushed
Right.
to a negative angle, man.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You talk about Hoover. You know what I mean? He was talking about growth and development. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And you talk about the laws that he had. You know what I mean? It was really about building yourself and the community up. You know what I mean? You talk about the vice lords. It was the same thing
yeah.
in the
A lot of Muslim
beginning.
principles with the vice lords. The pyramid and the bricks and stuff like that. So, not to get into that, but it's just like you say. I think Rail said the mind can convince itself of a lot of different things. He said that doesn't mean I'm out here banging, but those laws and those principles are for success, and I follow them. You know what? And Kamar referenced gang banging earlier, and I wanted to say this before I close because my perception of what quote unquote gang is for us, it was different because it was more of a familial bond and less of a street gang bond. Because here's a group of brothers from a common area really from this area and it was applicable to this area and that was where we were at. We wasn't trying to spread it to Chicago or LA or New York or Compton. It was like, no, this is what's here. And there was a lot of brotherhood and unity. There was a lot of solidarity. I've seen two brothers stand back to back and fight 15, 20, 25 dudes and take whatever came with it because that kind of love and that kind of brotherhood was there, and a lot of us at that point was looking for it. But the mentality of what it came down to, because then it became involved in criminal enterprises, and that's what made it bad. It wasn't the initial brotherhood and the initial relevance and love we had for each other, or as Kamar would say, understanding our similarities. It just became, well, now we got a little force, we got a little numbers. Let's kind of thug it up a little bit, and that's when it went down Shit's Creek. So that was my experience to it. But you're right. Some of the things I learned from some of those old school brothers who was really the real ones, the originators, some of my older cousins who was really, really street dudes, just real gangster street dudes, but they had principles and they had morals. And a lot of the stuff they taught me, I utilize to this day too. So I can identify with Dion saying, I took some of the good out of that and I kept it with me and I hold it near and dear. So I hear you on that. And you're right. I'm nowhere near gang banging, but I will still, be who I am and what and I'm not ashamed of it. So man, it's 9:38. Kamar, it's Monday. So we'll be back Wednesday. Do you have anything really significant popping this week that you want to start promoting right now? Get the ball rolling, get the momentum going.
This week,
Yeah.
no, let me see, man. No, not this week.
Okay.
But next week, I got some stuff to talk about. Let's go with
Okay.
that. Let's wait till next week for that stuff. Then I
Okay.
can really talk about it.
That's what's up. I keep telling you I got to get my prescription refilled, so we got to get together. But I'll be moving because I'll be back in my office, back and forth. So, and sometimes, like I said, I'll be driving past the Phoenix and I'll be on my way home, and I know you be there, but I'll be trying to get home.
Well,
So I'll be
I
like,
only be at the Phoenix. You can only count on me being there on Tuesday.
okay,
Every
okay.
Tuesday, I'm there
And where you be at the other day?
From 11 to 5. You'll catch me there every Tuesday.
Okay. See, I do it on Tuesday because I go in on Tuesday. I be getting up finding like man, I'm going home. I'm so happy to be up this plantation. I don't want to pick
Yeah,
another damn music.
I be posted right there by the front door.
I'm gonna hit your line. I'm gonna hit your line. Shout out to ENC Jordan. We're gonna be on with the Big Black Sports Show tomorrow. I'm telling you, even if you say I don't like sports, you need to watch the Big Black Sports Show because it is sports told from our lens, and it's so integral with social justice and social events. So much social commentary. Ian is a very knowledgeable brother, as is myself. And so last week, it's a shame Facebook was playing with us, but we're going to get it in tomorrow night. And we talk about some sports, but it ain't really a sports show that's centered around the scores. You know what I mean? Well, the scores on the scoreboard. It's mostly centered around the scores in the community and what's going on with us as a people. So check out the Big Black Sports Show tomorrow. We lost Rail. Shout out to Courtney. She wasn't with us tonight. Shout out to you if you listen to the show. Please share the show. Please share the show, y'all. That's all we ask. We want to improve our reach. And I've been put on blast by my co-host that I'm sitting on the machine and not letting it get mobile, but I'm dealing with this as I see my capabilities. So, and that's coming. Understand most of this is just about being on code. It's okay to disagree. It's always a pleasure when players meet, right? It's nothing for me to have an intellectual back and forth with a brother who I respect, because somebody who I don't respect, I wouldn't even give him the time of day. As they say, I wouldn't give a cripple crab a crutch. I wouldn't piss on you if you was on fire, right? There's no need on me wasting my time. But I do respect the opinions of those who are like-minded like myself, and I'm even willing to entertain the perspectives of some people who are not necessarily like-minded, because I think we all have something to say. I don't think anybody's valueless. I don't think anybody's worthless. And I think we got to do a better picture of seeing the whole thing as opposed to having tunnel vision. Don't get me wrong. You may be a real righteous individual. You may be smart. You may be a person who's motivated. You may be a high achiever. You might be a high earner, a deep learner. But you by yourself cannot get a goddamn thing done. You got to have your people with you. You got to be on code. And this is what we say about Kanye is the real crime is he needs us, but he's not on code. And he got to get there if he want our support. And on the other hand, I reiterate what I said. Fuck every celebrity. Fuck every mogul. I'm talking about every fucking rapper. They'll never get another dollar from me. You motherfuckers have shown me that you will not stand with us when it's time to stand with us. When it's really going down, you motherfuckers run and tuck your tail and hide your head in the sand like some ostriches. And ostriches don't really even do that. That's what I learned. But when I was little, I thought they did, because that's what I was taught in school. But yeah, so you got this thing with Kanye showing us who the real true soldiers are. When you look around, see, when things going good and you look around, you can't tell who really with you because everything is going good. You don't really figure out who's really with you until shit's going bad or shit's going left. Then you can understand who's still there. It ain't about when I'm succeeding. It's about when the adversity hits. And that's how I find out who's really with me or against me. With that said, we always finish the show by saying, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, right? You're either with us or against us. It ain't no fence for you to straddle. You're going to have to make a decision sooner or later, or they'll make that decision for you, right? So you have to understand that if you live in our community and your criticism of the black community outweighs your contribution, your ass is most definitely a coon. And I'll see y'all Wednesday night. Peace and love.
Forever.